Hey, what are you doing June 2nd, 3rd, and 4th? Joining us in Minneapolis for the Women Getting Visible show and conference. That's what you're going to be doing. I can't wait to have you in the room to move your visibility journey to the next level. We're going to have women speaking on courage, clarity, and confidence, amazing speakers, activating workshops, and our signature Story Sparks open mic, where even the attendees can come in and share their stories. Are you ready to move your visibility to the next level? We're there to support you and cheer you on all the way. Join us in Minneapolis, June 2nd, 3rd, and 4th at the Women Getting Visible show and conference. Go to womengettingvisible.com. See you there. Welcome to this very special episode of Women Getting Visible. This is our speakers episodes. We are getting ready for the Minneapolis show and conference. I'm Christina Vidovich, visibility strategist, joined with Amy Noobsome, a growth strategist, and today our special guest, Tracy. Welcome, Tracy.
Hello, thank you for having me.
So excited that you are going to be in the room and speaking to our audience. Yay!
I'm super excited too. I can't wait. That's going to be just to be able to attend the conference too. Super excited.
Yes. So tell us a little bit more about what drives the message that you want to share.
What drives it is really, I had to do a lot of work with this too. Like you think back and you're like, well, you'll do something that you're not exactly proud of, or you don't know why you reacted so much. And what I found out about the window of tolerance and how it plays into the human emotions, and the more I got excited and I wanted to learn more about it, because it really helps us understand how human beings actually work. And then you can say, well, it's more human. It's because we're human. It's not necessarily just because it's me. So it was really just exciting to say, okay, this is not just me. I'm not alone here. We're human. This is what goes on in our heads. We have a thing called the window of tolerance. And once we stay in there, we react consciously. And when we jump out of the window of tolerance, our emotions take over. And that's when we do things probably a little less consciously and emotionally charged. So it was just, and once I understood that, it was just a light bulb going off, right? It's like, okay, this explains so much. This is how I can do it. And then then working my way through of how can I identify, where I am in the window of tolerance and what it looks like when I leave and come back in. So really kind of exciting.
That's so fascinating. The whole words put together, window of tolerance.
Right? Like, what is that? I want to know more.
Yeah, it's actually rooted in trauma research, and it's just an amazing, and a lot of people don't know about it. I didn't know about it the first time I heard about this, like 4 or 5 years ago. And I was just like, wow, it makes so much sense. When I said it clicked, all these things started popping into place. Like, oh, that's why. Oh, this is why the attitudes of your attitude and like your meditation and you're having the gratitude speeches. This is why that's why you do all that stuff. I remember it really clicked because I was like, remember during COVID, they just like flooded us with all of these, meditations and affirmations and do all these things. And they never said why. And this is the reason why. It was like, oh my gosh, this is why they gave us all these tools, is because this is what's happening, especially in that crazy emotional charge of COVID times, right? So that was a big click. I was like, oh, it's like the precursor of why you do all these amazing tools that are out there for you to kind of help you with your emotions, right?
So what I love about this is that the window of tolerance as business owners, Christina and I'm sure we both have gone through a huge range of emotions. There's constantly things going on, and how things, matter of where we are does really help. That window of tolerance, that idea of just going, oh, that makes a difference. So one of the questions we love to ask, Tracy, is why does visibility matter to you?
I felt invisible for so long, right? And then how do you stay visible, and how do you stay visible the right ways, right? There's a lot of ways that you can become visible, and it's not probably, the best for your career or your growth. But then, how do we do that? What's the best way? What's worked for other people before? So it matters to me because I'm further along in my career, and I wasn't very visible in the beginning, right? And a lot of us women fall into that trap. It's just like, okay, my work's going to show what I do. No one's going to, I'll be good at what I do, and they'll see me because of my work. And through my career, I found out that doesn't really happen that way. And but yeah, so that's why I'm excited for this conference, because women need the message as soon as you can get it, even as an early child, to be like, it's okay to be visible. You're allowed to be visible. You be you, man. And it's like, and you'll shine. And so that's really what I'm excited about.
Yes, I love that. I love every single word that you just said right there. It's absolutely so important to be able to teach women as young girls that it is okay to be visible. It's okay to be in our own skin and get out there in the world and just be us. There's nothing wrong with just being who we
And it doesn't matter what age, you could be in your 60s and still not feel visible or being seen, right? And that's the beauty about visibility is it's whenever you are, that's where you are, and it's okay. We're here to help you, to show you what to do, or even just give you an opportunity to be included in the room.
are. Absolutely. So, Tracy, when you give your excuse me, Tracy, when you give your talk of the window of tolerance, who do you think this lands with best? What kind of woman that would be in the room would really resonate with this?
I think everybody can, in all honesty. I don't mean to be like sound generic, but we all have emotions. We all have had our emotions take the better of us, and to understand and learn how we can stop that before it happens, and what it looks like, and how our brain works, and response to emotional triggers is just fascinating, along with so beneficial to everybody, because it allows us, again, to show up to the person we want to be seen as, and allows us to, as I said, be visible in the way we want to be, right? So I think everybody will be great for this. This is not only for work, it's awesome for home. If you have kids, it helps you understand some of the things that they go through. I always use the example, it's like if you see a 2-year-old temper tantrum, yeah, way out of their window of tolerance. So that's an extreme look of what this can look like. But as you know, there's no talking to them, right? And we even as adults can get into that same state. It doesn't look exactly like that. We don't throw ourselves on the floor, right? But you don't listen to anybody. You don't, you're just like, well, or you get indifferent. There's a whole bunch of different ways this can look like. And that's why just understanding that and realizing that there is a way to stop that and how you can work on that. That's why I would say everybody needs to have this, just to really help, like I said, yeah, and be visible the way they want to be seen.
I love that.
Yeah.
Even thinking back at some of my moments, I'm like, ooh, I'm really not very proud of that. And I'm like, ooh, I was totally out of my window of tolerance just by knowing, your content. And it's like, sometimes it almost makes me feel better about those situations where I didn't show up so perfectly, like the way I wanted to, right? But that's kind of how we are. There's a whole range of emotions, and I probably did that a lot more as I was younger. But yes. Yeah.
We are emotional beings, very, very much so when you're younger. So I have 2 younger daughters, and I see it a lot. But yeah, you're right. It's really how you can notice it and just understand what it is. It's amazing. And like I said, it's just, hopefully what everybody else will have is these light bulbs that come off. And it also allows us to have some common language about it too. And then it actually, when I was able to say, ooh, I'm outside my window, I was outside my window, it helped me communicate that better, along with if I tell people that are around me, it's like, hey, you know what? I'm sorry I behaved that way. It wasn't intended to be that way. It really just helped me come back to them and say, that's not how I wanted to show up. You didn't deserve that. And if they know about the window tolerance also, I can say, I do know I was outside my window and I apologize for that. It gives you that common language. It gives you that the ability not to say just pass the blame onto something else, but allows you to like humanize the behavior you had, and makes you help move forward. Right? You say, okay, you can forgive yourself first about that behavior, and then and go, if you have to, apologize. I've had to, and say, what, that really wasn't the behavior I wanted. So again, the language just really helps take it away from just, oh, it's just me, it's just me who does this, to we're human, we do this. Now I can move forward, forgive myself that I might have had this emotional, spike, but I can move forward, right? And I can make it right, So that's another great piece of it. And it also helps you on the other approach too. The more you understand that window of tolerance, you can actually start to identify when other people are might be really close to jumping out or even outside their window. And it allows you to give them that empathy that says, you know what? Maybe this isn't the best time to talk about this right now. I'm going to give them space. I'm going to let them come back into their window. And that's when that's when they react consciously, and you can have a better conversation. So it's twofold. So once you understand it for yourself, you're able to start seeing it for other people, and it's like giving them that forgiveness and saying, you know what, this isn't the best time, and working through that way. So that's another amazing piece. Yeah.
Well, what I love about such a simple idea really helps us in all of the different areas that our conference is about. We have about clarity, courage, and confidence. That touches in all of those areas, right? It allows us to understand what's going on. It allows us to do a courageous action, maybe apologizing or stepping out of ourselves for a moment and saying, wait, give myself some grace here. And then it's to becoming that confident person that goes in the moment. You're like, I know what's happening. Right? I know how to adjust here. So I love this topic. It's such an easy one to identify in all three of those different categories that this conference is all about. So we're so excited to have you come in and talk about this and help women understand, like, oh, there's a different way of seeing this. And how can I apply it to myself?
Absolutely. That was just well said. I can see how this also, as you mentioned, it interweaves with clarity, confidence, and courage all the way through it. And it just helps you become the better person that you want to be, so.
Yes. Which ultimately helps us with our visibility, because we feel more confident to show up who we are when we feel like we can get inside these, the window of tolerance and get ourselves back there to be that person consciously aware of what's going on, to step into our visibility.
And
Absolutely.
With that, this has been an amazing interview with you, Tracy. Thank you so much for joining us today. We want to invite all of our listeners and all of our viewers to join us in Minneapolis, June 2nd, 3rd, and 4th for the Women Getting Visible show and conference, where you can meet more amazing speakers like Tracy.
Share your story, own your name, step in the light.
Hi there, everyone. I want to welcome you to this special episode where we will be interviewing the ladies coming to the Minneapolis conference. I'm Christina Vidovich, a visibility strategist, and we have Amy Newbson, the growth strategist, and today's guest, Heather, the executive and transitions coach. Welcome.
Hi,
welcome.
welcome. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
We're so excited to have you here, and especially as well as a speaker at our conference.
I am very excited to be sharing when you reached out to me and said, Women Getting Visible. And can you talk about confidence? And I said, oh my gosh, yes. Hello. Can we talk about the mindsets that women find themselves in and how to get into a more productive one? Oh yes, this is going to be fun.
Amazing, amazing. So, Heather, what is it that got you into this and that really drives the message that you share?
Absolutely. Well, you see the term executive and transitions coach. So what the heck is that mean? That means that I am an executive turned coach who now gets the privilege to walk alongside these amazing high impact leaders as they go through every transition in their executive career, whether they planned it or not. And that's an important part of my story, is because I've had several pivots along the way. Some I decided to do on my own, and some that the world decided for me. And when you have that shared experience, you say, boy, I wished I'd had someone that walked alongside me. And that's what I want to bring. I have the best job.
You do. So incredible. And it's true. I mean, how many times we go through transitions in our lives, and it's so wonderful to have that support.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I love that. And who do you typically work with, Heather? Like, is it everything, but I know it's executives, but do you also help business owners as well?
I do. I actually say that I coach innovators. And so it doesn't mean that you have to open a high-tech company. It's about the mindset. Innovators love to evolve. They love to grow. They're not in that fixed mindset of, okay, this is the way it's always going to be. They love to think creatively and differently. So yes, do I find them in the medtech space? Absolutely. Do I find them in small businesses, in entrepreneurs? Yeah, they're everywhere.
Yes, and I love that because you just spoke to it. Entrepreneurs are definitely on that creative streak. This idea, that idea, next shiny object, where should I go?
And mindset's a big part of that too. We get really excited, especially as innovative people. And then we're like, wait a minute. Then these like crushing kind of emotions or possibilities kind of like overwhelm. And then that mind shift needs to kind of happen along with those innovations and ideas to move forward.
Yes.
So I love that you're helping them with that.
Yes. It is that key to unlocking it. Because you can have a tool, you can have an action plan, you can have a practice. And that's one part of the stool. It's like you got a stool with two legs and you're kind of falling over if you don't have that third leg. And that third leg is the attitude that you go into things. What is the lens in which you see the world? And that's the amazing part of it, is that we get to choose. That is all our choice of, do we want to look at the world through the lens of how we've always seen something? Or do we want to choose a new lens? Ooh, choice. It's like, which shirt am I going to wear on my podcast today? I have a choice. Is it pink? Is it blue? Is it purple? What is the lens I want to see the world? The same wonderful choice that says, I'm feeling pink today, can make me say, well, I'm going to look at this opportunity with curiosity. Or maybe I'm going to look at it with wisdom. Or maybe today all I got is a little bit of empathy for myself, and that's what I can bring. But we choose. And that's where the empowerment comes from. And by the way, that's where confidence comes from, is I chose, and I chose to walk through something difficult, and it was still hard. But I did it.
I did it. Well, those are Christina's words. I did it, right? I love that you've been talking like some of our language throughout your whole conversation. Curiosity. I love curiosity. And I think everybody that, if you want an easy way to live through life, curiosity is a huge part of that. Being curious, asking questions, being involved, that wonder of life is so great. I did that as Christina's language.
Yes. And it's fun because that curiosity can bring about that fear and that vulnerability as we're moving into our visibility.
Yes.
Yeah. So I would love to find out, what ways or tips or techniques do you have that you give others to step forward through this?
Yes. Well, let's start with that curiosity that you talked about. Because when we get curious and we step out of our comfort zone into something else, absolutely, our brain is like, hello, we are not feeling very safe anymore because we just stepped into the big space. And first tip is just, congratulations, that's a symbol of what you're doing. Oftentimes we get that feeling of ooh, I feel scared and something is wrong. So if you reframe that to say, cool, I'm feeling uncomfortable. Guess what? that means I am about to play big. I'm going to need my pack around me, but I am about to play big. And so it's tip number one is it's your story. You tell it how you want to. You name that feeling. I'm a former scientist, and that's one of the things that we learn here is that the feelings that you have, our behaviors come from what we name them. So that same feeling that you get when you're excited is actually the same feeling you get when you're anxious. Same thing. But our brain is like, oh, I'm excited, or oh, I'm anxious. And then, boom, you behave accordingly. So tip number one is name it.
I never thought about naming it. That's quite clever. And how we perceive the feeling is how we receive it.
Exactly.
So that's really, I love that.
So when you get that tingling feeling, Amy, in your chest the next time you do something big, you have a choice to say, okay, I'm really kind of scared, and get small. Or you can say, ooh, that means this is going to be cool. Same feeling. You've now chosen the mindset. So reframing, naming and reframing it. It's a big part.
Yes, and stepping into your growth. I mean, that is just a beautiful way to just come into that next step with that set of confidence. Ooh.
And then eventually, I think too, part of that confidence, you don't even notice or recognize that excitement becomes exciting instead of anxiety. Like, it's really interesting how you could start to use that energy so much differently. And one of my favorite quotes is like, I had to become comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yes.
I mean, that's what I'm like, okay, I can do this. I can step into this uncomfortableness because I know I can survive it and it'll be okay. And whatever will be, will be. So, yeah.
And Amy, you brought up one of the other tools we're going to talk about in this, which is about measuring backwards and tracking what we've done. So many times we look to measure forward. We got this big thing in front of us, and then our brain's like, too big, too scary. I don't think so. Instead of doing that, let's look back and just say, hey, take a look at those 3 scary things that I just did. Who did it? This girl. And so the next time that we're stepping outside of our comfort zone and our brain's like, yeah, we've never done that before. Go, that brain right here. Actually, 3 weeks ago, we did exactly the same thing. And you know what? It was scary. And we did it. So we can do it again. And so keeping track of those steps by measuring backwards can really help us close that gap in moving forwards that we wouldn't see where we want to get to.
That's amazing. I love it. This girl with 2 thumbs. Yes, yes. So do you have one of your examples of somebody that you've watched go through this transformation? No names necessary, but somebody that you've watched that was, just yes, this was incredible to watch this transformation.
Oh my gosh. It's like, how do you pick between all of your favorite children? Sure. I think about clients that have, so most of the clients that I work with, they're so smart, they're so brilliant and so experienced in their leadership. And they have a story, something that they're telling themselves that's holding them back. I will say one of the most common ones is, I don't have a XYZ degree, fill in the blank. I don't have a something degree. That I'm not smart enough to fill in the blank degree. And that can really boost our confidence, or reduce our confidence, where you find just that I'm sitting in a space, I'm not going to step forward, I'm not going to go for that promotion because I'm not smart enough. And then we start looking at, okay, well, what if you change that? What if you rewrote that script to say, here's all the years of experience that you've gained. Maybe you don't have an MBA. However, here's all the things that you've done. Now let's get curious. What could you do with that? And I think about the clients that when they start getting curious about that space, they're like, well, actually, and then shoulders go back, chin goes up. And I'm like, I did this and I led this. And I had this executive award for. I said, did you need your MBA for that? Oh, no. Okay, then. What are you going to do? I'm applying for that job. Oh, yes, you are. And by the way, you got it. So thank you. So I think about so many clients that just reframe like that. It's your story. It doesn't have to be conventional. You tell it the way you want to.
I love it. I almost see the pulling back of the t-shirt, and there it is. Let's get curious.
I do too. And I love that you bring that up too, because when I coach a lot of my clients, even in small businesses, we feel like there's a little something lacking because we have such a great understanding of what we went into business for, right? And then there's all these unknowns around it. And when you step into small business shit, it's like those things become very aware very quickly. And you're like, what do I have to do?
Right.
Let me figure it out. So you start to doubt yourself a little bit more when you're in small business because there's always something to learn. And I love that you kind of say, I ask my clients too, like, do you need that degree? Like one person was like, I'm going to do all my marketing. I want to get a degree in it. And I'm like, why? You're already killing your marketing strategy. You're doing so well. What else would you learn? But she just wanted that piece of paper, that proof that was, and I'm like, it was just showing her that the proof was already there.
Right. And such a big part of building your confidence and breaking through that assumption, those limiting beliefs that we have for ourselves of saying, I must have X to get Y. Do you?
Yeah.
What if it looked differently? What strengths do you have? What experiences do you have? Maybe you don't have an MBA. You're a really great systems thinker. You are really great at connecting people to purpose. You can analyze business data and look at trends. And by the way, you know how to use AI, which is really big in this field. So how do you market that instead?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I love that you're helping people see what their almost their superpowers are. Because sometimes we need somebody else to show us because it's so easy for us. And we're like, what do you mean nobody else can do this well?
Mm-hmm.
So I love that you're helping them see that as well.
It's a definition of a superpower, isn't it, Amy? Is that what's that thing that when people are like, oh my gosh, I just want you on my team because you do this. And you're like, what? That's so easy. Doesn't everybody do that? No. And then you found your superpower.
Exactly.
So what kind of woman do you find yourself really should be in the room with you to take that message away?
Anyone. But let's be specific. And I say that not flippantly. I say that because we all have our stories. We all have these moments of transitions that we're going through. And I think sometimes we say, oh, my transition is not as big as somebody else's, or it's not. Guess what? It's still a transition. And everyone's story is uniquely their own. And so I actually think the room is big enough for all of these stories. When I coach, sometimes it's a 5 coaching session, sometimes it's up for half of a year. Transition can be like this or it can be like that. But who should be in the room? The person who's ready and the one who doesn't know if she is.
I would love that.
So all of the above. And bring your dog, by the way, because Jack likes
Yes, Heather just showed us her dog earlier. She definitely loves her dog. Yeah, she's adorable, right? Yeah.
Yes, and I appreciate that because I think at any stage that we are, we're always can learn something. We always have that ability to learn, even things that we think we know inside and out. When we hear it in just a slightly different way, it's like, oh, I've been doing this for 20 years and somebody just said it in a totally new light.
Yes.
Wow. And there's that growth again that happens, that curiosity by allowing yourself to be in the room. Yes, yes. And so another question I love to ask
Mhm.
with women getting visible is, why does visibility matter?
Oh. Visibility and being memorable are one of the top three things when I do 360 interviews that people say you need to have. You need confidence, you need recommendations, and you must be visible and memorable. And that comes over and over again. And so putting ourselves out there, being uncomfortable enough to be visible, to ask for sponsorship, to step into those transitions boldly, even if we're pretending a little bit, is very critical to the growth that all of us have to do. Especially if you're a solopreneur or a small business owner, your brand, your mission, your face, getting it out there and being visible is important for business. And I'm going to say a second piece, because when you were asking me about who I was coaching and why to be in the room, I think it's important to be visible for each other. And there's such a learning and a growth in that, of seeing, oh, wait a minute, you feel like that too? It's not just me that wonders what on earth this AI thing is doing, or feeling uncomfortable with, I don't know, this new tech that I had to do. Being visible to each other helps us remove those blocks, remove the shame, and maybe, find a friend that can do something as well as or better or partner with us. So I think there's a visibility for putting our brand out there and stepping into our comfort zone. And then there's this community that we create by that visibility.
Absolutely. I am so excited, Heather, that you will be joining Amy and I in the room on June 2nd, 3rd, and 4th in Minneapolis. Wow. I cannot wait to hear more from you, as well as a big old hug.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. I am a hugger. Definitely there will be. It will be so much fun. I can't wait to be there.
Fantastic. So this is an invitation. So Amy, would you like to take it from here?
Yeah, we would love to have you join us in the room. Bring your friends, bring your coworkers, whoever you feel is really needing that really loving, intriguing curiosity space, right? That we are going to be bringing to the stage. So this isn't just, come and listen. We want you to engage, be a part of the conversation, take things on, try something uncomfortable. This is a great opportunity for you to figure out, how do I want to be visible? So join us. We'd love to have you.
And thank you, everyone, for watching or listening today on this special speaker episode of Women Getting Visible. We'll see you in the room.
Story, own your name, step in the visible. I'm visible.
Welcome to this episode of Women Getting Visible, the speakers edition for Minneapolis Women Getting Visible Show and Conference. I'm Christina Vidovich, visibility strategist. Here is Amy Noobsome, growth strategist, and our special guest today and speaker, Tony Will. Welcome, Tony.
Hello, ladies. This is so fun. I can't wait to dive in.
And we can't wait to dive in with you. Oh my goodness. So I love the fact of what you do and what you're bringing to the table. So I want to start with, what is it that really drives the message that you're going to be bringing with you to the Minneapolis conference?
Yeah, I think the main message is there's not one right way to be successful, design what successful looks like. There's not one specific path. And how, this is women getting visible. So how do we do that? How do we find our version of success in a way where we're getting visible that pushes us outside our comfort zone, but not an insane amount, just one small step?
Yeah, I love that, because I think that the little small steps always become big, giant impact later on. So how do you feel like the women in the room will receive your message? Because, it's always interesting to get to know a little bit more about what you're going to give to the women in the room.
Yeah, so I'm really passionate about women empowerment, leadership, learning, um, connectivity, and really about lifting women up. I mean, I have, as you ladies know, my own event that I host here in my hometown of Kalamazoo, Michigan, around this concept, and because I work in a male-dominated industry, so my hope is when I come and speak, it's all about feeling motivated, inspired, and also to talk about some of the parts in my story that have been messy and that haven't been Instagram highlight reel worthy, but I still talk about because that's what life really is. It's not it's I mean, it's I don't know, it's a messy thing sometimes, and that's okay. And we can feel that way and still come out the other side wanting to have our dreams and goals and play big.
Yes.
Yeah. There's so much courage in those words to allow ourselves to live in the messy, to be in the messy, and accept the messy.
And then also to share the messy as well.
And a lot of times you'll hear someone that really is authentic and grounded as a speaker to say, listen, this is just who I am. And they'll be like, oh my God, I'm not alone. And one of the messages I send is, and I say it with love, but you're not special. Like you are never alone in what you're feeling. You think you're the only one, but trust me, you are not. And um, we're all unique in our own ways, but there's a lot of things that we have in common.
Well, that's one of the things I love as a storyteller. I get to listen to women's stories all over the world, and I always say storytelling has no boundaries. There's no, and when you start to talk to people from all over the world, you realize how similar we are. Our hopes, our dreams, our fears, our anxieties, what we want is so similar that it's hard to see us as different.
Yeah.
So I agree with you completely.
Yeah, and we don't need to be perfect. And I think depending, there's like 5 generations in the workplace now, which means what tells me is there's 5 different generations potentially at this conference. And we're all culturally told a different message as we were coming of age. And I can tell you one theme that has been woven into all the generations is of women showing up flawless and fit and successful and the best moms or the best, fur baby moms or whatever we are. And I would say actually Gen Z is probably getting it best where it's like, no, this is just who I am. And so, like adopting that, we don't have to be unflawed to be valuable and accomplish our goals.
You know what I love about that saying the Gen Zs? It's because, hey, look, we're the generations, especially as women who've worked through a lot of stuff, who've said, we're pushing this barrier out of the way and stepping through it. So yes, that's a great statement.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that today's world. There's some things that, when I grew up, like I pictured I had to be like, I had to wear high heels. Well, my feet cannot handle high heels. Plus, I just absolutely hate it. Christina can rock them, but I will not. And I choose, I'm like, nope, not me. But I love that that's not a thing that today's world, that has to be something you have to do in order to be successful, which is ridiculous.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the 80s power suit was a real thing. And with that power suit came them power heels. And praise be 30-year-old Tony, she would rock them. But 48-year-old Tony, no. So that is not where she's at anymore. And that's okay. Right. And we can all be in that space because I'll be like, Christina looks great in those and good for her. And I'll be wearing my silver Adidas, and and she's probably looking at me thinking those are cool too, like we're cheering each other on.
Well, I have a curious question. Being in a space where it's male dominated, how does that, there's so many places that are male dominated, but particularly in sports.
Mm-hmm.
How do you navigate that as one of the few women in the space that you're in?
Yeah, so I it's people will learn about me at the conference. I'm the general manager of a men's AA professional hockey team called the Kalamazoo Wings in Kalamazoo, Michigan, which is my hometown. I'm born and raised here and never left. Did I think I would be the GM of the men's pro hockey team here? No. And the team is 52 years old this coming hockey season, and I am younger than that. So that's been around my whole life. I never thought I would work in this space. So part of my story is interesting, which I can share a little bit about when I'm there. But it wasn't like I applied for this job and said, I'm going to rip my bra off, set it on fire, yell, woman, hear me roar, and break through every glass ceiling I possibly could. That was not the story. And so it really is like part of that. My success came from walking through those doors and not even thinking about my gender at all. I really didn't. But when I worked in banking the first 13 years of my career in leadership there, I didn't think about my gender at all. It became obvious when there were different ways I was treated or spoken to, either in meetings or by fans. And because I'm an authentic leader where I'm like, I didn't have a hockey background. Certain people don't like that. Well, now I do. I've been doing it well over a decade. But it is, I've learned a lot along the way. A lot of the naivety has gone, but a lot of what I do have is that business acumen and that leadership quality and understanding, because this is my hometown. There's a lot of relationships I have that I was able to build this, when you combine all these things and someone that loves to learn and grow and challenge herself, it was the perfect place for a personality like mine to shine and build a great team culture and grow what I have here over the last nearly 12 years.
It's wonderful to hear, because I mean, the idea is you just always owned who you were. You showed up as you were. You didn't think about how you were different or how you had to fit in. You're like, no, this is what I'm creating. And I like that you created the experience that you wanted for yourself. And that's not something we are sometimes told is the right path to do. But I think truly it's where we blossom more, is when we get to create that path for ourselves.
My story was not linear. It was, the first 5 years of my career was, really working on turning the franchise around. And like I like to say, pulling the Titanic out of the iceberg, because when you live here, you would just assume every community has a pro hockey team. And that is simply not the case. It is very special that a community this size has pro sports at all. And so, I mean, the population of Kalamazoo proper is 75,000. So most professional sports teams are in communities of north of 1 million or more. And because we're privately owned, we're in a totally unique situation. And that's part of telling that story and how we're developing these players to move up the hockey system through the American League to the NHL and back down. And so it's really understanding that and creating that that image, which is true, is that this is unique. This is a sports entertainment venue. Let's take advantage of that. And so I was able to, lean into my own unique ability, being a female GM of a men's professional hockey team. And I represent, which 51% of the population are women, of the global population. So I represent something that little girls can look up to and say, I want to do what she's doing. And knowing that I can do that by being me. I've always had short hair. I've always worn glasses. I've always been just a little different than a lot of women. But I love women and they're friends of mine. And, they lift me up too, just like both of you. And so it's really embracing that. But not every day has been easy by any stretch of the imagination. It is a high pressure environment. It is challenging at times. And I have definitely questioned my seat at the table. But I understand the responsibility that comes with it, and I'm proud of it. So I keep pushing through the times that aren't easy.
Mm-hmm. That's so beautiful. It's like I hear, again, it's like when we're talking and having these speaker interviews, the clarity, the courage, the confidence, and how much I can hear that through the story that you're telling. It's just incredible. Which of those, I mean, it's hard to pick, but which of those words speaks to you the most?
I think the word that I get asked about a lot is courage. Like, Tony, how do you have the courage to walk into those rooms or speak up in those meetings or challenge, the men in the room when you're the only woman at the table? And so courage is definitely one that I get asked about quite a bit. And really the answer comes in setting goals, whether they're big or small, and achieving them, because that builds confidence. And so, and I don't always feel courageous. Sometimes it's just me thinking, experimenting. I'm like, I'm going to try this and see what happens. And sometimes I fall flat on my face, and sometimes it works out. So,
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's incredible. Just what you're talking about, the courageousness being a word, but also with that falling through is the curiosity.
mhm.
And that has been like the fourth C that's been happening here. And getting someone like you who is leading a different path to step in and speak and share your stories. There's curious minds want to know about Toni.
Curiosity is definitely one of my core values. Even I am an avid learner. And so when I see women putting these type of events on, I'm like raising my hand. And one of the things I do, and I always, like consider is even if I'm not speaking at the event, I like to show up to these too as a participant. I don't always need to be the one on the stage. And so you'll oftentimes see me attending these type of events as just someone that wants to learn and see what other women are doing in these spaces to help women build confidence, clarity, courage, because they're curious. Another interesting fact I learned as I read all these books and stuff is only 10% of leaders are actively learning something new.
Really? That seems so low.
It's shocking. But a lot of it is, you'll hear the common thing is, oh, I don't have time. Okay, I call BS on that. I mean, anyways, but I think it's such a valuable insight as a learner and a leader, because I'll read books that I hate and I'll say, God, I don't like that. But there's always a nugget or two I can pull out of it. So yeah, I want to be part of that 10% that is learning. So I'm better at my leadership day to day, whether that's at work or with my young adult children or in my marriage or being a good neighbor, daughter, whatever. It all applies to all parts of my life.
Well, that's what I love about visibility. It applies to all areas of life. We're not just, only visible in work. We're visible in our lives. And how do we show up really does matter in all relationships. And that's what I love about the conversations that all of us are having is this goes through every part of us, every part of our lives. So take the skills and apply it to when you're in a group of setting, or if you're on a board, and how can you bring that to the table? If it's, showing up and giving, taking your kids to you're the chaperone at some event, whatever it is, they can be applied. And
Absolutely.
and I love curiosity. I love that you're curious, because you also are so open and sharing of everything you do that I feel like if somebody asks you the question, you're going to tell them the truth.
Oh, I am. Like, listen, I talk about this, when we were talking off air about things, I've been married 3 times. I will talk about this all day long. And my third time's a charm husband. He's upstairs right now, building something for in my office. And like, I talk about these things because that's another example where, being married 3 times could be something that is stigmatized, or I could just talk about how I ended up, like why I chose, why those first 2 marriages didn't work, and my mindset around I got out of those relationships what I was supposed to, and that it's not something wrong with me. It just didn't work for us, and that's okay. Or my relationship with alcohol, which I know I will be talking about when I give my talk. And I quit drinking almost 6 years ago because Toni Party Time, she needed to be retired. Like, my relationship with alcohol was not what I wanted, but it's highly stigmatized. And so how can I lead authentically and say, I'm going to quit drinking out loud, even though there could be a lot of shame attached to it. But I found the more I talk about these things, the shame shrinks, and I build more confidence. It seems counterintuitive, but it's true. So we all have these stories, and maybe they're not divorces or getting arrested or quitting drinking or all the things. They could be much smaller than that, but you might still feel shame about it.
And I do think that's a lot of it. Visibility, the ones that you hold back because you're ashamed. There's some kind of shame a lot of times, or an embarrassment or something going on. And it's like, I always think the more the interesting people are the ones that are willing to share their messiness or the realness of the rawness. And some people will be like, I'm so sorry I'm crying. I'm like, don't ever apologize for crying. Like, that's ridiculous. It's a real emotion. Feel the emotion. And I love that you bring that energy to the table, as well as, life can be raw and painful, but it also can give you so many opportunities, but you just got to show up for it.
Yeah. Yep. You do. You just got to you got to let the hard stuff, especially when there's big challenges. I always say to myself, I'm growing, I'm growing, I'm growing, even though it's annoying.
Yes, they can be. Oh. And sometimes you wish they never happened, but then you're grateful for them afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, you two putting on this conference, it's a lot of work. I don't think people understand, like, behind the scenes, like, how much work this really is. And so I have a lot of admiration for women who do this work because it is out of a passion and a calling. So compliments to both of you, because there are hard times, especially at this part of it. There's lots of details. And so kudos to both of you for growing through this.
Thank you. We appreciate that. And I mean, it's just, there's nothing quite like, and I know Amy feels this way, it's just like runs through our veins and our hearts to be able to share women's stories and celebrate us, because look, we've had some interesting lives before we stepped in this room, and why not celebrate together about like, oh, you did that too? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And really celebrate women coming together, because they're depending, again, going back to generations, women haven't always lifted each other up. And so breaking down those stigmas too and saying, no, I want what's best for everyone that's at this event. And we're not competing with one another. It's a mindset of abundance. This isn't scarce. There's only one Christina. There's only one Amy. There's only one Tony. And there's enough for all of us. The only greatest equalizer is time, because we all have the same 24 hours. So how are we going to spend it?
Yeah, that's a powerful statement. And I want to get into the next powerful statement and question to you, Tony. Why does visibility matter?
I think it's important for women who want to be seen to be seen. And not everyone wants that. And every woman, or every person for that matter, wants that. And that's okay. But if you want to be seen, it's, like, come to this event. Figure out these people who will help you. You're like, I don't know what visibility means. Visibility is so many different things. Like, we're on a visibility tool right now with podcasting. Maybe that's what you want to do. Maybe you want to have a website. Maybe you want to get on a stage and speak. Maybe, there's so many different ways to be seen. Just start posting on social media, or a new social media medium that you have no clue about. So there's a lot of different ways. And that's part of this, is like learning, what does visibility mean to the woman attending this? And what do they want to make visible? It doesn't have to be their whole life. It could just be parts of it, what their calling or passion is.
Well, thank you, Tony. That was amazing. I love how passionate you can get. Even your voice gets really excitable, and I love it because there's such strength in what you say and what you do. And I love that no matter what time I've talked to you, you've always showed up exactly who you are. And I think that's what we're all striving to do, is to just be ourselves no matter what room we're in, what conversation we're having. I want to be me, and I want to be seen for being me. And I love that you are doing that, giving women's voices and sharing it with us today and in Minneapolis as well. So thank you for coming and being part of our show.
Well, thank you for putting the event together, both of you, and creating this space for us all to come together. And I'm excited. It's happening the day after my birthday. So there's no better way to celebrate than with a bunch of wonderful women who are driven to learn and connect and grow. So thank you for putting all this effort and energy into it, because it's going to be amazing.
Well, that's fantastic, because my birthday just after it. So there we go.
Look at us June Geminis. I tell you what.
Yes. Love it.
Incredible. This is just going to be a week of celebration. That's what it has to be. And I can't wait, Tony, for you to share your message in the room with the incredible ladies who will be there. And I want to thank everybody who's watching and listening to us today on this special speaker edition of Women Getting Visible.
Share your story. Own your name. Step in the light.
Hi, welcome to this special edition of Women Getting Visible. We have our speakers edition getting ready for the Minneapolis Women Getting Visible show and conference. I'm Christina Vidovich, visibility strategist, along with Amy Noobsome, growth strategist, and today, Kim, Midlife with Courage, our special guest and our speaker at the conference. Welcome, Kim.
Thank you so much for having me here today.
So excited to have you in the room.
I'm excited to be in the room.
Well, Kim had one of those interviews that we could not get it out of our heads. It was stuck in there the entire time. We're like, we have to have Kim come in because we know her speech is going to get stuck in everybody else's heads just as much as it did in ours.
I hope that's a good thing.
Oh, this was brilliant.
Awesome.
Absolutely. And that's what I love because it is one that is going to last and last and last. Going, I remember that day that she brought it into my life. And Kim, I'm going to start with that first question. What drives the message that you want to share at the conference?
What drives it is it's kind of a combination of my own personal experience of not really feeling visible as a younger person. And now as I get into midlife, that's totally changed now because I've learned. But also talking to other women in midlife who they tend to minimize themselves. And that's, I don't want to give everything away here. I don't think that's what I'm supposed to do here, but we're just going to, it's just, we find we don't realize all the ways that we minimize ourselves as we go through day-to-day life. And it's amazing the things when you really start thinking about it and paying attention to it, there are a lot of things that we do that just minimize ourselves. And so I had to come out with that. I had to kind of think through in my own journey, gosh, you know, I want to be more visible, but I've been sabotaging it myself. And once I figured that out, sky's the limit. Here I am.
Yes, I love that idea that we limit ourselves more than other people limit us. And it's just sometimes, it comes down to confidence. Sometimes it comes down to language. Sometimes it comes down to maybe I just need to sit and think about something a little bit more. So I feel like I'm capable of expressing myself to others.
Right.
And it's little by little, we build that confidence up that just allows us to show up fully who we are. And I think that's when life gets really fun. How about you?
Definitely much more fun. I like to say when I kind of had my midlife revelation, I don't call it a crisis, in my 40s, where I realized I don't have to do what everybody says I'm supposed to do. I can do whatever I want, basically, and it's just a liberation. It's a feeling of just freedom to do what you want to do. You've kind of let go of some of these, these priorities that are based on other people's needs, and you get to turn into yourself and say, you know what, I matter, and it's time for me to do what I need to do.
Yes, and it's so fascinating because I'm watching, and it's so important because our words do matter. How we present ourselves, how we have particular words, and even stopping, what you just did right there was a beautiful example of sometimes it's okay to pause and correct our language. And I think there's a little hint of that's going to be happening in your talk. I mean,
Yeah.
even the fact that you have a podcast called Midlife with Courage. I love that. Tell us a little bit about that courageousness.
Yeah, when I decided that I wanted to be inspirational to other midlife women, I had to turn back to myself again and say, what am I passionate about? What gets me up out of bed in the morning? And that is courage. And I wanted to show other women through stories of women just like them that they do have courage, that it's within them. And so sharing these stories of other women who have gone through transformations or come through some huge challenges, or maybe even not so huge challenges, that they can do that too, and they can bring that courage up and find it in themselves.
I love that you brought up like the little things too. Like most people think that the only way through transformation is like a massive, big undertaking or trauma or big new experience, but sometimes it's the little tiny actions that we take every single day. And then we have to reflect back on those to see like, wait a minute, look where I've come. It happens so gradually that sometimes we kind of miss it. And that's why I love when people like will point it out to me and I'm like, oh, I did do that. Oh my gosh. Thank you for helping me reflect on that. So I love that you're helping women kind of reflect back on their greatest moments, sometimes maybe some of the traumas, but along the way we grow.
Right.
And I love that you're sharing those stories.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it could be just as simple as I used to hate to walk into a room by myself, of other people. Like networking was tough for me if I'd go by myself. And then I started to think about it. No, walk in that room and you own it. And now I don't even think about it anymore. Networking group, let's go. Like there's going to be new people that I can talk to and connect with. I love it. So it's just those, but that wouldn't be, some people would think, well, that's not a huge big deal. Just walk into a room. Like, no, it kind of was a big deal for me. And now it's not anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the things I love is even just the person that you were before and your previous career of always being able to nurture and take care of others. So tell us a little bit about that. I don't want to be the one to give it away.
Yeah. So I was a nurse for 27 years and I did everything. I started out labor delivery and kind of ended my career the other end of the spectrum with assisted living. But a lot of it was with labor delivery, mamas and that kind of thing. And so nurses, yes, we're nurturers, we're helpers. That's why we get into nursing. Pretty much everyone I know that has been a nurse. But we're not I don't want to say the star of the show, but we're there to help, like in labor delivery, especially, we're there for that patient, that mom and that baby, or even just not even labor delivery, other patients. We're there to take care of kind of in the background almost, but we play a good role, like an important role, but we're there to kind of be there as support, and taking that and applying that to the people that listen to my podcast, the women that I talk to, it is nursing in a different way. So I love that you brought that up to kind of connect the two. And I do talk about that. I'm a retired nurse, but I'm still nursing in a different way. Yeah. Oh gosh, women who are maybe they're feeling disconnected with other people or themselves. Maybe they're feeling like I did before this whole thing started with my midlife revelations. I felt like there was something else there for me. I just couldn't get to it. I knew there was something out there I needed to do and wanted to do, and I just didn't know yet what it was. And that's the woman that I want to talk to, and I want to hear my message.
Wow. And I love that. Again, it's just the depths of things that we can take from our own experience and share with others. That is absolutely the beauty of it all. And what's fascinating is talking about your career and to where you are now is that visibility, invisibility. It's like you're doing the things that you're doing magically, sometimes invisible. And then sometimes it's just like, oh my gosh, if it weren't for you being here with me at this moment, what would I be doing? And it's just incredible just to see this across the span of where you were to where you are now with walking through midlife with courage. So one of our favorite questions is, Kim, why do you think that visibility matters?
It's so important. This is something I literally just in the last few weeks have realized how important it is to me, myself. And because what I was doing, I'm still doing it with my podcast. I'm sharing these other women's stories. And it's taken me, well, 5 years I've been going to realize it's not just their stories, it's my voice too. And what I have to say through the podcast matters. And since I've come to that realization, the conversations that I've had with my guests, and even not podcast guests, but women that I've talked to in person, the connections are better and they're deeper and the conversations are more poignant, for lack of a better word. I'm trying to think of a different word for that, but they matter more. I just feel that deeper connection. And it's because I realize that my visibility matters too. And while I'm doing that, I'm helping these other women become more visible to the world, and they can grow from there. So I love that it's just a wonderful feeling.
It's very common for us to want to showcase others and then we get lost, or we feel like
Exactly.
we haven't really like showed up for ourselves, and we're like, wait a minute, podcasting is a two-way conversation,
Yeah.
right? And sometimes
Yeah.
we forget our roles as a host. And
Right.
it's really great that you recognize that, because when we speak, Christina and I talk about it all the time, it's a give and a receive. It
Mhm.
needs to be both directions. And when you are fully aware and you're fully receiving, that's when the magic starts to happen and those connections start to build faster, because you get to also listen, talk, receive all those beautiful things that we kind of take for granted that are just like there. But when
Yeah.
we're consciously aware of what we're doing, oh, it's so much better with
That's
the
amazing.
conversation.
Right. Right. And I've been finding too, since I've kind of paid more attention to that, almost every single one of my podcast guests will tell me at the end of the conversation, I feel like I was just talking to a good friend. I mean, that's huge. That's what you
Yes.
want.
Yeah.
And that proves to me that I'm doing it. That's what I'm supposed to be doing. So it's wonderful.
And that's a great idea. Like, that's how we kind of put the whole conference together, is like,
Yeah.
this isn't like women standing up there speaking at you. It's friends
Yes.
giving you advice,
Right.
including you into the conversation.
Yeah.
That's what we put together. And I love that trust me, when you come, you will not get her message out of your head. It's still stuck in there, and it's been over a month.
Yes. Good. It's effective.
It's very effective. And it's so simple. And that's what I love, is we're bringing simple things you can bring into your everyday life. And yours, Kim, has been at the top of my mind. And I cannot wait for other people to hear your story
Oh.
and your message, because I know it'll make a difference.
Yeah, I'm so thankful for the opportunity to be able to share it. And yeah, obviously it's very needed and necessary. So it'll be wonderful to share.
Great. Kim, thank you so much for joining us today. Wow, everyone who's watching and listening, you need to be in this room. This message will change your life and your words and the way that you think about things. Absolutely. So I want to thank you for joining us today on this special edition of Women Getting Visible, the Speakers Edition for Minneapolis.
Share your story. Own your name. Step.
Hi, and welcome to this special edition of Women Getting Visible, Speaker Edition for the Minneapolis Show and Conference. We are so excited to have you join us today. I'm Christina Vidovich, Visibility Strategist. This is Amy Noobson, Growth Strategist, and our special guest today, Teresa. Welcome. We are so happy to have you in the room.
I'm delighted. It was a meant to be thing. When my friend suggested this from Maui, and here we are. It's happening, and I'm so excited to meet you in person.
Fantastic. And we are too. This is incredible. So One of the things that was so fun and unique about our conference is not only do we have speakers, we have workshops, we have activities where we have facilitators like you who are going to come in and help us through that activity. So you are a super networker yourself. What is it that drives you to share your message about networking?
What drives me is that sense of meaningful connection. Uh, Honestly, the world feels like a better place to me when people are connecting authentically and helping each other out, and seeing that networking doesn't have to be transactional. It can actually be transformational, and that by having that type of intention, you're actually catalyzing even more possibilities to happen through that authentic connection. So that drives me. And the other thing that drives me is that a lot of people are really either nervous or they really can't stand networking. And it's because they are networking in a way that they think they're supposed to network, and not in the way that fits for who they are, their goals, and moves them forward in a way that feels right. And I think too many of us have thought about networking as you have to show up in a certain way, and you have to make a sale, or you have to sell your service, but really networking is about human connection and how we can help each other move forward. And so that's what drives me, is seeing that happen, and the beautiful things that happen when good people come together and help each other out.
Oh, I love that too, because when I think back about my networking experiences, and I wasn't great at it when I first started. And I remember hating going to those rooms, especially the big rooms, when you're brand new, you're trying to do it, and you're doing like the Chamber of Commerce events, and you're like, oh my gosh, what do I do? So I actually, when I first started networking, I would kind of like find a friend and be like, ooh, can I go with you? Because I needed that little extra guidance in the very beginning to kind of help like shift around the room, or they would know people that can introduce me to vice versa. So I love with networking now, people are embracing the idea of like, find your comfort, find the person that can help you, support you, or is it find a different room that you fit better? Because sometimes those rooms, I look back, I'm like, I never should have been in those rooms. I didn't fit in those rooms. And it was telling me all that, and I missed it. So I love that networking is now a little bit less sales, but more about who you are.
Yeah, and what you want and how you can move forward on that, and articulating it. And if you tell other people why you're at something or what you're hoping for through your networking, they can show up and help you. That's much more compelling than, your name, your role, your company, your benefits. People don't remember that type of thing. They think more about how can I help you? Our brains are problem solvers, and they want to care about the problems that they're solving. So if you can establish a connection that you care about and see how you can help each other, then that problem solving kicks in, and then you see, oh, how could we help each other out? And I think that is a much more exciting way of connecting than I do this, I do that. All right. It works for some people, like, especially if you're somebody who has a very, very concrete job, like I'm a plumber. Great. I need a plumber. But if you're someone that has more like personality, your work, and people that hire you, really, they want to care about you or like you at least, then there's more that happens in the networking relationship.
Yeah, no, it's amazing because it's like what you're saying, the problem solving, because it's like, oh, yes, it just makes it that much more memorable into let's have this conversation that I can relate to versus here's a piece of paper with a number on it. Good luck.
Well, and also a lot of people feel like in networking they have to share everything in this short amount of time, but really networking is just about beginning a conversation. And if you think about any of the meaningful connections you have in your network, it didn't all happen within 10 minutes. It was an unfolding of, oh, wow, we have we could be helpful to each other, or, oh, I could really use that person's service. And then it builds. It's not just a meeting each other and then taking action and it's all done. It's relationship building.
Yes. And I love that the idea too is setting the intention before you go. I remember thinking about that, like, what do I want to do today? I'm like, ooh, I just want to have fun and see what interesting people I can meet.
Yeah.
And just setting that intention sometimes it just made some of the nerves kind of go away. But also, I just got to be a little more playful with my communication and like, or I'll be like, what kind of interesting things can I say that people might be interested in? And just kind of made it more of a game for myself,
yeah.
going, how much more fun can I make this?
I do that, and I can integrate it if you'd like into the session where future self networking, which ties in with visibility. And so we could work on, okay, how are you going to present yourself now as a speaker or as elevating your speaking, right? Because a lot of us will say, this is what I do, or this is what I used to do, but your conference attendees, they're stepping up into a next level of who they are and how they're seen. And it's a perfect way for them to practice showing up in that way and that's the key, Amy, having fun with it, not worrying about it being perfect. Humans connect when they share joy, not when they share perfection, or at least most people.
Oh yeah, I remember networking events where I came home laughing at myself. I'm like, what was that? But I had fun. Like, oh my goodness. Well, I'm glad there was a whole bunch of witnesses there. Those are like moments where I'm like, all right, but I enjoyed myself, right? And those are the people that remember me too. You're like, oh gosh. And I never tell the same story. So as I'm networking, people are like, oh, did you know this about Amy? Or did you know that? I'm like, and so before I knew it, there was like a bunch of little information out there about me, which was really interesting.
You learn that that's what works for you, is being in the moment and being more, maybe improvisational isn't the right word, but you're being present to the moment. And other people feel more comfortable when they have more of a way that they always present themselves. And that's what I'm talking about, is finding what works for you. I'm more like you, Amy, where I share something different pretty much every time because it's tailored to the person that I'm meeting and what makes sense with that connection.
I like that. I like that. And I'll just share one of my things is being someone who likes fashion and accessories. I always have something that is a talking piece.
Yes.
And trust me, she does. They are not to be ignored at all.
And that is not a small thing. That, especially for women, we love to notice something that's interesting, or that we share an aesthetic, or like, wow, that's so beautiful. And those talking pieces are great conversation starters. And if they tie in with your intention, like even better, like if I'm just imagining Christina, you're wearing something kind of wild. I'm like, yeah, I'm all about helping women to be more visible through speaking. Then, well, yeah, you're not going to show up in, a mousy grayish sweater hiding in the back of the room.
Exactly. And what I also love is this is all really encompassing the clarity, courage, and confidence of us getting out there into these rooms with others. And I just love this whole presentation that, that you're going to help bring to the room with us. And so, this speaks to a lot of women, who are coming into the room. So how have you experienced someone change when they have learned some of the techniques that you have brought to them?
Well, there's someone who is very vocal about how I changed her attitude. Her boss had suggested she come to one of my networking things, and she's like, oh, I hate those things. And she came and she loved it. And she said, can I intern? Can I volunteer? And then that was 15 years ago. And she's still very active in the programs that I offer. In fact, she just hosted one for her community. And she talks about how she had this idea of what networking was, and it just felt icky to her. And then she realized, oh, that isn't how I have to network. I can find my way. And she ended up building her business. She said it was almost all of her clients had come through networking. It was something she had been doing as a hobby that she was able to build a thriving business because of networking and finding her voice and being visible and not talking about what she used to do, but what she is stepping into, all of those things. That she's a very powerful example, but similar stories to that. And I can share one more. I can share lots more, but one more that I'll share is a young professional who had come to our group. And to me, I live in this world where I think women are really there for each other and want to help each other out. And she came from a career where she wasn't seeing that. And so she was a young professional, so she hadn't had a lot of experience. And she came and she saw the ways that women were interacting with each other at our events. And she said, oh, I didn't know that we could do that. And so she said that she went back to her office and the people that she was meeting with through her work, and she shifted. She was like, I don't have to be part of this culture. I can be kind. I can be present. I can be uplifting. And she said it actually had a ripple effect into the culture of her company that she was at, because it wasn't going with, well, this is how people interact in an office, to how do I want to show up?
Well, the nice thing too is if you think about it, it doesn't have to just be in-person networking. This is the same way we want to show up online, how we want to show up in conferences, how we want to show up in our work to our clients. All of those kind of things is how do we want to show up? And it does start with the networking though, because that's your first moment that you interact with somebody. And I still remember the first time I interacted with Christina, I'm like, there's something there. I didn't know her, but I'm like, there's something there that we clicked and we're like, we want more. And then we continued the conversation. Like you said earlier, Teresa, it's not all of it in that first 10 minutes. It's continuously building that relationship after that first impression.
I guarantee you, Amy, that when you met Christina, that Christina wasn't just only talking about herself and this is what I do and this is how I do it. I'm sure that she was present with you and that it felt mutual, because that's what made that connection special.
Mm-hmm. Totally. I mean, we bonded right away over the silliest things, right? That's the idea. You never know what people are going through, what they're doing, or what their backgrounds are. And that's what's interesting about networking is it doesn't always have to be about business. We bonded over our parents being from other countries.
Oh.
And we're like, hey, I get you. I totally understand that world. That's like as a kid, it's those things, that we bonded over, and then the relationship grew that way. And I think that's what we're always taught, is to lead with the business. And I have reversed it. I lead with myself. Then the business talk comes later.
Yeah.
I want to know if I like you, and if you match my world, and if there's a need for me, or if I can help you.
Right.
Yeah.
And they can be connected. Like what you care about can definitely be connected with what you do for a career, but it's getting to that core of your passion, what you care about, what motivates you, what brings you joy. Those are the things that connect us. And the fact that you both had parents from other countries, even though it felt really personal, I'm sure that there are also ways that ripples out into your careers and your businesses, and you're clearly thinking more globally, both of you, right? Because of that shared experience.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
for sure.
Yes, it gave us both a love and passion for travel. I'll tell you that. Yes.
Absolutely. I think that was probably the other thing that we bonded over next, after recognizing is like, oh, so yes, we absolutely have a totally different worldview because of that as well, for sure. You nailed it, Teresa. You nailed it. Oh, so I have one of our questions coming up for you. Why does visibility matter?
Well, if people don't know that you exist, you're not going to have the impact, the influence, the success, whatever it is that you're wanting. You can't have it unless people know that you offer it or that you are it. Uh, Very few people, unless you want to be farming, and be, Walden's Pond, very few people have that lifestyle. Anyone else, if they want to be hired, if they want to have friends, even if they want to be pursuing their interests, all of that requires people knowing that you're there. And it doesn't mean you're the loudest in the room. It doesn't mean you're the one that is effortlessly talking with everybody. It means that you are present, you are responsive, and you are relevant with the people that you meet, and that you're there, right? Like that you show up. And that's part of it too. That's key, is finding those opportunities that fit for you. You're going to be much more likely to show up than when you're trying to pretend to be something that you're not, like going to an event that it just doesn't fit for you. But if you're with people that you feel excited about being around or you care about, then you'll be seen. And then that's where the magic happens, is being seen. And you're right, it can be online, but in person is a beautiful thing. We've all experienced now what it feels like to have only online for a long time, and that excitement, but also nervousness that people had about coming back together. But we realized how much that actually was a part of our well-being, is being connected with each other.
I can say that better myself. That was great. Yes. That's the thing too, is networking, visibility. You can't make friends if you don't show up. You can't make a new sale if you don't talk to somebody new. It made me remember, like, one of my great friends when I was first starting out in business. I met her at a networking event and I was like, oh my God, I do not want to buy a magazine ad. And she kept talking to me and I'm like, what are we doing? And she goes, I just really like you. Let's just be friends. I'm like, sure. Okay, that I can do. I'm like 23 years old going, what's happening here? And she became like a sister to me.
Oh,
All because we met each other at a networking event. Right?
yeah.
So those moments, those people that come into your life, don't dismiss them because they're not a sale. You don't know how they will impact and ripple out later on.
That's so important that you say that, because when I talk about intention, it doesn't mean being locked into an intention. It means leading with intention, but then sometimes there's something better than you had expected. So she went into that situation thinking, I got to sell magazine ads. But then she realized, okay, you're not going to buy a magazine ad, but I think you're great. Your energy, I love it. And can we be friends? Can we hang out? And so she shifted to something that was a fit for both of you, and she voiced it. She was visible about it. She didn't just be like, oh, Amy's so cool, I wish we could be friends. She said it. And there is a risk that you take, and like,
Yes.
you could have said, I have plenty of friends, I don't need a magazine ad. But you know what? Kudos to her. She said it, and you were able to match it if it fit your intention and your interest as well.
Yep. I'm so glad I did. I'm so glad I went to that event. I honestly didn't get a sale on that event at all, but I got an amazing connection and person in my life. So that's what the power of networking is. That's the power of what me and Christina are building, and the people in the room. These aren't just for your, hey, learn from them and let them go. We want you to know our speakers, get to know Teresa, ask her about herself. Engage with the women in the room, because that's what we're all about. And that's what we're craving, actually, and really in life, is we want to know people.
Yeah.
And we want people to know us.
And that's one of the things I was so drawn to with your conference, is, to me, it really matters when anyone goes to a conference, that they're able to not just learn, but take action, practice, have those connections that felt meaningful and good to be able to carry them forward. Too often in our busy lives, we go to these events, we fill our head, make all these amazing, what we think are amazing connections, but then we stop and we don't take action and we don't carry forward what we learned or continue the conversations. And then it ends up just being like, oh, that was a nice memory. And that's not what your conference goers want, right? They want it to have this life-changing impact. And part of that is through the connections that they make and being visible and showing up and practicing using the tools that they will learn at the conference, and not just tucking it away in a file folder, but practicing it and getting those wheels moving and not just in your scrapbook with a memory.
Exactly. Lisa, I don't think you could have said it better. That is exactly sums up what we are presenting this June 2nd, 3rd, and 4th in Minneapolis. I want to thank you for joining us today as our special guest speaker. And I'm Christina, and this is Amy, and we will see you in Minneapolis. Thanks for joining this episode of Women Getting Visible.
Share your story. Own your name. Step.
Hi, and welcome to this special episode of Women Getting Visible. This is our speaker edition for our Minneapolis conference. I'm Christina Vidovic, visibility strategist. We have Amy Noobsum, growth strategist, and today our special guest, Melinda Schultes. Welcome, Melinda.
Hi, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
So excited to have you speaking on the stage with us this June in Minneapolis.
I can't wait. It's going to be a great experience. Yeah.
It's going to be wonderful getting to hear what you have to bring to the table, because it's something that everybody could and use every single day, right?
Mm-hmm. So getting to talk about compassionate listening is something that, regardless of the industry that you're in or the level of experience that you have with, how you communicate, because there's so many different ways to be an effective communicator, but this is such a practical way that you can immediately take back to your personal and your professional life that can be really monumental for how people communicate with one another. And so I'm excited to get to present it to our audience here in Minneapolis.
Yay. And I love this. I mean, you have such an incredible experience from working with older people and getting into that at a younger age, and then being a professor now, in all of the communication skills that you already have. And I love this. What really drives you to bring this message to the conference?
Over my career in healthcare and then now in academia, it doesn't matter what I've studied or what I've done or the realms or titles that I've had. Communication has always been a key component of being successful in whatever it was that I did. And I used to think that I was an effective, active listener and such until I really dove into the material and realized I had a lot of work to do. But then what I started to also recognize is so many others also needed these sorts of resources too to better themselves. And so that's why I'm excited about the practicality of this. And I realized through trial and error my own areas of improvement that I needed. And so I'm hoping to be able to gift that to the audience too, because if it can make them more effective in their spheres of influence, then I call that a huge win.
Well, I love this too, because you think listening, that's easy. We all
Yeah.
do it, right? Every single day we listen to
Yeah.
people and we're like, we don't need
Yeah.
any help in that.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Tell me, let us know how people can improve their lives by active listening.
Honestly, we're really good at hearing, but we don't listen very often. And so we are busy thinking about our email to-do list, the grocery list, our house needs picked up. We're trying to plan this trip. We've got 1,000 things happening all at once. A coworker comes up and talks to you in the hallway, and we think that we're good at listening until we actually take a moment to realize we can improve in a lot of different ways. A lot of people, when I go and do these workshops, what I find A lot of especially high level executives, they struggle with actually listening to hear the message, hear the story within the story. They take that surface level bit of conversation, but it's not actually hearing what the person has to say. And so even though if you might be short on time, this is so super practical. It can be done in a matter of a few minutes, but have a really high impact on how effective your communication strategies can be within the workplace. Because honestly, you can teach this to other people in a relatively short period of time. And so there's a couple of different ways that we go about this. And it's really just asking people. I'm excited to have them practice it during my session because you get tried and true moments of realization of, I need to implement X, Y, and Z a little bit better. And so I'll give them these little tools that they can implement, but they get to try it too, which is highly practical. And it's generally pretty eye-opening for people.
I love that because one of the things I do in sales too, when people are like, I don't know why I can't get a sale, I'm like, are you listening? Because
Yeah,
a lot of times in sales, we
absolutely.
think we're the ones that have to talk. And it's like sometimes you
Yeah,
actually get a sale by listening more than you do talking.
absolutely. That's a struggle for people, especially in certain positions like that. I see that a lot. People, if they're verbal processing types, they think that they have to say everything in order to have the person hear them. And that's not the case at all. It's such a common misconception. That's a great point.
You know, and another thing that I love is the simplicity of picking up on the social cues. You know,
Yes.
it's like, what is the body language telling you that you're not even paying attention to when somebody's ready to like walk away or their thoughts are already on to the next process of,
Yes.
I've got to get on with my day. And you know, they're not listening to you
Mm-hmm.
anymore.
Absolutely. And it is picking up on those verbal and nonverbal cues. And as simplistic as that might sound, too, I always use the example, when you walk into someone's office very haphazardly and they don't even turn from their laptop or computer to, they're still typing while they're talking at you. That's a great example. And I see that happen constantly. And you just know, as the person talking, that listener is not really fully listening. And that happens so frequently. That's just one of a multitude of examples in our day that happens. And I used to be guilty of that, to be honest. I was that person. And so I'm hoping that can slow people down enough to be more intentional with the communication in their day. And it's even if this is just building an awareness. So there's the tools, but then there's also an awareness of wanting to be more present in your day. And it's amazing the other facets of your life that improve by just taking a few minutes to do this here and there. It doesn't have to be an all day thing. Now it's become a lifestyle for me, but I can't ask that of everyone else. But if they can take that into other components of their life, it's very enriching.
Well, I know for me, as I got into my 40s, multitasking has gotten a lot trickier, right? And I used to be able to listen and do and all those things. And now I'm like, my husband will talk to me and I'm like, what did you, I was typing an email. Like my focus was here. And I've had to be like,
Uh-huh.
I'll like put up a like finger. I'm like, wait a minute, let me finish this and I can turn and now actively listen to you. Like that's
Mm-hmm.
become a really big part of my life now because I
Mm-hmm.
can't hear and do many things at one time, which actually I'm really grateful for because now my listening skills are actually better. And I've gotten better at letting people know, just give me a moment. I'll finish this thought so it gets it's finished. And now my
Mm-hmm.
attention is completely on you.
That's a great point because honestly, we think we have multitasking thrust upon us as a way that we're supposed to function, especially in professional settings, only to realize that the further we get into our workspace, we're less effective for many reasons. And communication tends to be one of the absolute first components that goes out the window. And until you take a step back, kind of like what you've realized through the years is your effectiveness does plummet or your engagement does plummet. And it shouldn't have to take, a decade's worth of work like I felt like it did with me, only to come to realize I was not as great as I thought I was. and and so it does some of it is just learned experience with time, but how could we, whatever stage you are in your journey, how can we be better now, and instead of having to carve out many years in the future of just trudging through to be better. We can be better now. So I think that's a great example.
I love this, you know, and I just have a question without giving away the whole talk. Do you
Yeah.
have a little piece of advice that you could give in one small moment that somebody can implement today?
Yes. So, one of the things I would suggest is take 5 minutes, whomever it is you're talking to, whether it's a family member, loved one, friend, someone you don't even know. Don't ask anything but open-ended questions for 5 minutes. Don't conclude, don't make a statement, don't try to connect your own personal narrative, but just take 5 minutes, ask questions and listen to their story, and you would be amazed how that conversation is going to go. It's going to feel great for that person, maybe a little odd for yourself, but also maybe cathartic. So that's a quick exercise that I give people because it's powerful. Even 5 minutes is powerful for both parties.
I love that.
Yeah.
I mean, really, the idea of like encouraging questions and listening to the answers.
Yes. It really just provides this environment for curiosity. It's pure curiosity about another person. And then what is always shocking for especially high level C-suite people, because this is hard to measure on a spreadsheet. It's hard to measure the effectiveness on a spreadsheet. But what I do tell them, I said, if you do these little things, take 5 minutes, like what I just said, and practice this, that does lead into your engagement. That improves your morale. That reduces your turnover. These simple things, how basic they might sound, they are super powerful. And so that would be a great little trick I would try to ask someone to do for the day.
You know what I love is there's another thread within the conference, that curiosity, other than the clarity, courage, and the confidence, the curiosity.
Yeah, absolutely. That's my fourth C with an asterisk next to it.
Mine too. Honestly, I was like, if I got to add another one, that's what I would add. Yes.
But it does tie into the confidence too. You become a more effective and confident person overall with more effective communication strategies you can utilize. And so it does tie completely into what this conference is in a very practical way that can help you in so many different components of your life.
Yeah. And, Melinda, since we're inviting women to join us in this room, what kind of woman do you think should be in the room to be listening to this message, who can really say, this is something I can adapt into my life?
It's important to realize this message can meet anyone where they're at, but I tend to see the most power out of people that are leaders or wanting to become leaders. So even people that are not necessarily in a formal leadership role yet, but they're really seeking to hone in on their soft skills, because it's a really powerful soft skill. So people that are emerging leaders in their industry, even people that have been doing it for a while and need a reminder, because we get busy and we forget. And so I tend to deal with a couple of different types of groups, and it tends to be those. And so I would say, whether you're in a leadership role or not, but especially if you're trying to break into those roles, this could be really helpful.
I love that. Because, I mean, active listening is such an important part for all of our careers and even just our family lives and who we engage with every day, even to the person that might be like checking us out at the, at the grocery store.
Yes.
And a simple listening skill is such a great thing to have. Then I think you get less frustrated throughout the day as well.
Absolutely. It's funny. My husband always says, are you going to talk to the guy checking us out? And I'm like, it's going to happen. You just watch. And every time, it's almost like you give off a certain energy that people feel safe opening up to you. Even if you only have 2 minutes in that day, you get to be that for someone else. But it does fill your cup too. It helps in so many different components of your life to just, you feel more at ease. You're less stressed. You're more engaged in what is happening around you. And I don't know a single person who doesn't want to feel more like that.
Agreed. And today in our world of AI, we want those connections with each other so much more. And we're all more into the know, like, trust. And this is an incredible tool to give.
It does. It breaks down these barriers and it forces you to be open-minded in a conversation, whether you agree with the person or not. It doesn't matter. It's about just listening, and no one has to be right or wrong. It's just about being present in the moment. And that in and of itself holds so much power, and it alleviates so much stress from your life. And so this is a great tool. It's kind of going back to the basics in the world of all the AI emergence and such. It's nice to know that these basic things still exist and hold as much power as they do.
I also love that you brought up the energy of like that. It kind of changes your energy because my husband will go places. He goes, "How do people just randomly come up to you and tell them their life story to you?" I'm like, I have no idea. Like, they do. And I love that. I've never even thought about the energy we give off that invite people into our space because we are listeners.
It is. It's a projected energy that a lot of people don't want to talk about that energy or that vibe that people give up, but it's very real. You can walk into a room immediately and know who you can divulge deeper conversation and secrets to than someone who feels closed off. And it is a feeling that you give off the more you do it. It's just an openness that comes off of you. And it does make life a lot more interesting. People are more willing to be able to work with you in different capacities, and you just form deeper connections. It's overall, it is. There's a huge energy source that surrounds it for sure.
That's wonderful. Well, and part of, energy is like getting visible, right? Is that part of
Yes.
drawing people in? So to you, why does visibility matter?
Visibility is, being able to share these gifts and this information with people on a platform that exudes positivity, especially like what you guys have built. It's about positivity and empowerment and encouragement and curiosity and all of these things. And being visible in that way and sharing this with people is what we can and should be all about. And so you've created this space for visibility where people can be their truest self and help other people along the way. And that is exactly what I think of when I think of visibility in this environment that you've created for all of us to get to speak and all of the people who actually get to attend and be part of your experiences. I can't say it in a more holistic way than that. That's exactly how I feel.
It's just sitting with me as you're saying it. It was so beautifully well said, because when I think of visibility itself, the being seen, being heard, and you are a huge part of that being heard and yes, thank you. Thank you for your work.
Our world needs a lot of that right now for current times and even in the future. And you're creating this platform of visibility for that to happen. And so I got to celebrate you guys for doing that. I just get to be part of it. I'm along for the ride.
Well, thank you. We are enjoying this ride a lot. I mean, together we are looking at this as a big, huge idea, but it's bigger than us.
Absolutely.
And the more we want to rise women up and get people together, because then the whole goal is that they do the same for others. And it's
exactly.
The whole idea is just to get bigger and bigger than us. And I love that you're a part of it from the beginning.
Yeah.
That ripple just keep going.
Yeah, I agree. It feels like the pay it forward, like what you guys are doing when, in the Starbucks line, when you're supposed to pay for the person behind you, that it just gives you warm fuzzies for the entire day. And you guys create that same sense for people. And it is the right thing for us to do to help others along their journey, just as you guys are helping people on theirs. And so you just created this collaboration for that and this space for that to happen, which is awesome.
Well, Melinda, thank you today for joining us today for our special edition of Women Getting Visible. We love what you have to bring to the table of active listening and the idea of bringing listening to the table every single day and how it shifts our energy, how it brings people into our worlds in a completely different way, but also allows us to understand that our language also needs to be heard. And we get to be kind of responsible for that.
Mm-hmm.
And this is how you do it, is the listening practice of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So I love that you're bringing that to the table and going to help all the women in the room understand these new skill sets, or maybe just a reminder of some of those things, because like you said earlier, we get busy and we start going forward and we forget some things that we need to bring back into our lives.
Yes.
Yes.
We are a well-intentioned bunch of women. But sometimes we just need a little gentle reminder. And this is that gentle reminder.
Exactly. I think that's true for so many things, but listening is key.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. I can't wait to see everyone in Minneapolis in June.
Incredible. And I'm sitting here just continuing to listen and enjoy this conversation. And I can't wait to be in the room with everyone. And thank you so much for being our special guest today on this special speakers edition of Women Getting Visible. I'm Christina and Amy, and thank you.
Yeah, join us June 2nd, 3rd, and 4th in Minneapolis.
Share your story. Own your name.
Welcome to this special edition of Women Getting Visible. This is the speaker edition for Minneapolis Conference, where we introduce our speakers. I'm Christina Vidovich, visibility strategist, along with Amy Newsom, growth strategist, and today our special guest, the amazing Kimberly. Welcome, Kimberly.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm so happy to be here. This is very exciting. And to be a speaker at Women Getting Visible Minneapolis, my hometown.
We are so excited to have you in the room. Honestly, from the very first time we had a conversation, it was a yes, you need to be in this room because your story is so unique. I love it. Other women need to hear it. Other people need to hear it in general. And what I want to ask you about this conference, Women Getting Visible, and our Courage, Clarity, and Confidence, the messaging that you're going to be bringing to us, what is the driver behind that? Other than you and your RV, what is the driver behind your message?
I think the driver behind my message is it stems from many decades, we'll say 3 decades, so I don't age myself too inappropriately, but several decades inside the corporate walls where I just feel like I was performing and obedient and I felt captive and I felt like something in me was really missing. And then there was like a series of events that happened to me and it made me realize that maybe corporate wasn't for me. And then there was just something in my heart and soul that broke after the passing of my brother. But it made me buy an RV, basically, go on the road and discover what was going on. Why was I silenced? Why was I feeling the way that I was within the corporate walls? And I know it had to do a lot with obedience and the structures that were in place there. And so when I went on the road, I started to recognize and uncover like these wounds that were inside of me. And the biggest one that came was this trust wound. And then I realized and recognized these patterns I was seeing in all of the women I had been coaching and sitting with for those decades that I was inside those corporate walls. And I'm like, there's something to this. There's something very, that's very silenced inside the soul of the woman. And I went on that self-discovery to find out how to heal that within myself. And, nothing heals that better than driving an RV when you don't know what you're doing and figuring everything out on the way. So it took a lot of like courage and self-discovery. And then I realized that trust wound deep inside of me is deep inside across all women. And so I'm realizing that people need to realize that you're more than any of the betrayals and the abandonment and anything you felt inside walls where you didn't feel like you actually belonged. And I feel like that is the crux of what my message is really like reconnecting us back to trusting ourselves. And because I've been able to kind of heal that wound within myself, I think it's important for us to bring that forward to other women to heal it collectively.
I love that because I was just recently asked about why do I support women? I must have had strong women in my past. And I was like, I thought of them like, no, I've been betrayed by more women in my past than anything else.
Yes.
And I hadn't realized how much that hurt more than anything else is being betrayed by those women. And I'm like, but still, I know the power of women supporting women is way more powerful than to let that wound hurt me and let me play like over here and by myself in isolation.
Yes.
And it's finding those right women to support you is the goal. And I love that you're identifying that as kind of a wound that we all kind of carry.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And it's a wound that was built over generations. I mean, I was blessed enough to sit with elders and medicine men, and I was able to actually receive healing for and looking back on the maternal side of the women. And in that work, I was able to research and dig into my mother's lineage and the hurt and the pain and the sadness and everything that was inherited in me. I was able to track back to the 1400s. So this goes a long ways back, I think, for all of us, because all women are connected. And so if that first woman was hurt, all women were hurt. And now it's like we're at this golden time where we can now kind of bring forward some healing for that pain that has literally been inherited.
What's so incredible about that too, I mean, there's so many levels that go with that, right? You know, the survival of the fittest. So whoever could make it through those times. So it is absolutely in our genetics, and then we're teaching it to the next generation how to survive.
How to survive, how to overcome, how to just heal that wound, embrace that wound, integrate those wounds, right? This became part of who we are today too. It's like I can't think of all the decades I've been on this planet and not be grateful for all those lessons that I learned through all of the pain that brought me to this day. So, yeah.
And it's a really interesting thing when you talk about the decades, right? And it's fun when you can step back away and you're like, oh my God, I'm seeing history repeat itself. Even within your own family unit, you're like, oh, now I see it.
Yes.
I see this repeating again. And
Yes.
it takes a really strong person to say, no more, I'm breaking this.
Exactly. And I gave my mother permission because I realized too that the things that she passed to us and how she raised us in the household that I grew up in, when I was able to be like really honest with her and share with her the growth and the healing that I've been going through, I gave her permission to walk that same path. And so seeing that too, and my mother is a character. So she she was definitely one, and she's from the previous generation. So it was really difficult to kind of get through to her. But once she saw the kind of the light starting to shine brighter in myself, it gave her permission. And that also let me know that, oh my gosh, all generations of women need to hear this message, need to, feel safe in doing the work and outgrowing that trust wound.
Yeah, and the growth that we can teach a younger generation of women so that we don't have to go through the same things over and over again. It's like, look, these generations before you, before us, and the things that they've been doing to create a better world for us. So yes, carving that pathway. So a question I have for you, Kimberly, is bringing your story into the room. Who do you think, I mean, this is going to resound with a lot of people, but who do you think you would really love to see in that room with you to go, here's the story and here's why you need to know it?
Oh, that is really good. I will tell you, as somebody who, well, all of us basically, we enter this world, we go to school, we're trained to be a certain way in society. We're trained to go to college, be prepared to go to this job, to go to this corporate thing. And it's almost just like the breadcrumbs, the path was already laid before us, and we never really had a choice in that because it was programmed into us since the day we opened our eyes. That was the path we were all given. And so I think it like really dimmed the courage to step outside of that laid out path. And I think the woman that I would be speaking to is the woman that started realizing maybe early on and when they were told to follow a certain path that it didn't feel right, or something just didn't resonate with them, or they were sitting in certain corporate jobs or certain roles in relationships and things like that, and something inside them wasn't sitting right. But because of just feeling silenced and not having a voice or the courage to speak up, because it was the path that was laid ahead of us. You grow up, you get married, you go to work, you go to college, all the things that we're supposed to do as women. When it doesn't sit right intuitively, we kind of just push that down. So, and I feel like that's a lot of women, but the woman that is looking to take that next step forward, I think is the woman that I want to see in this room, because just seeing all of the things that I was able to step through and step out of all of the paths that were laid before me, and just take this unconventional route of being in an RV and rebuilding myself from the inside out. But that woman that feels like she needs permission when she really doesn't, but recognizing inside of herself that she's been pushing down her truth for so long. And I just do believe that woman is across all of us and within all of us in some way.
I love that you recognize the woman that I feel like the people that talk to me, they're like, I don't know what I want, right? Because they haven't had the time or the opportunity to really evaluate what has been scripted for them versus what do they want.
Yes.
And I love that. I feel like you could speak to that woman and go, let's explore that. Let's
Yes.
find that person inside you.
Yes. Yes. Oh
Yeah.
man, it just, it gives me goosebumps and warms me up to just to think, even if it's one woman I touch, there's one woman that can resonate with my journey and with the work that I'm going to bring into this conference. I can sleep better, even if it's one.
Well, what I think you're talking about is the power of the ripple. The idea too is as we change and evolve, we inspire people we don't even realize. So just our
Mhm.
own personal journey, but also that one person could help thousands. So when
Yes.
when we start these journeys of who we are and being visible, stop thinking about, I'm talking to lots here, like stop thinking about that, how we have to, get a million people in the room. It's like that one person can become a
Yes.
million. We just
Yes.
don't know that effect because it's like the idea is it keeps going beyond us.
Yes.
So
And
I
you just,
love that you are doing this work, Kimberly, with us.
thank you. Thank you. And you just made me recognize and connect to, part of my journey being on the road. My persona of Ravenheart was born on the road. And Raven is the messenger from spirit, and heart, of course, coming from my heart. And I was always in my head and I was always cerebral. So I was always thinking that I couldn't do this and I can't do that. And, this isn't nobody's gonna like this, and thinking about what other people thinking at the end of the day. And there's no wisdom in the thinking mind. So when I started to drop into my heart, like it just became more obvious what I am meant to do. So just kind of reconnecting with my heart and being able to inspire other women and creating sacred spaces. So even that one woman, I opened the door just yesterday. I had like my listening lounge, and it's women that come together and just sit with each other. And there's something in that power and in that energy. So I know this is going to be a powerful event to have. I had 6 people with us yesterday up there, even 5 people, 3 people, however many people in that room that can really connect to this, the power is going to be felt.
Yeah, it's funny, and I don't know why this is coming to me. It's just like the journey of 1,000 miles begins with the one step. And it's the same thing with our storytelling. We have to start with that one person that it lands with, and then they begin to share and tell our stories. So suddenly that's the echo of our voice. And, in high touch rooms, just those 5, 7, 10, 15 people, we can make such an incredible impact, and then those people go on to tell our stories. And I love that because especially in the visibility journey, as Amy mentioned, it's really, that's where it starts with. We're not chasing the visibility, but we're going for our truth and our lived experiences so that somebody else doesn't have to go through them, and they can learn from us and they can adapt into their own life of going, okay, you want to find joy in your life? You want to find your courage, clarity, and confidence? Well, hello, come and meet Kimberly in the room.
And I get this feedback a lot especially when I meet women on the road, and they're like, the first thing they say is, "You're driving that thing by yourself?" you know? So I'm like, yes, I am. And then I don't realize, because I just did it, that it did take a lot of courage to do that. And I didn't realize how many women, even outside of the circles and the worlds that I was in before, would not be able to take that step, would not be able to do something so brave. And then I think about all of the things I've done. I've raised a son on my own. I've, taken myself through college. I've taken myself through a successful career. And to just think how many women don't do that. And I'm single. I've been single the whole way through. So I've been by myself doing it. And I think it was being prepared by myself in order to come out for others. I think that that has really been part of my journey. And yeah, I'm really getting more and more excited about just bringing that forward and stepping into that with this room.
Well,
Yeah.
and I love the idea of bringing the traveling of the RV. I mean, you could have chose so many different other ways to do independent traveling. So many easier ways than taking an RV and driving wherever it goes. You could have
Yeah.
gone on a nice fancy trip by yourself. You could have so many things. And the idea is like, you're not an electrician, you're not a plumber, you're not like, when you have an RV, you become all these extra hats. And you just did it. I think that's such a brave thing to do. And I'm like, could I do that? I don't know.
Yes. And I wrote a book. I've launched 2 businesses. I've launched a coaching practice. And now I'm emerging as this. I can't even recognize the woman I was 3 years ago. I don't. She was depleted from corporate life, and yeah, oh wow, what a difference. And it's interesting, 3 is a very magical number, as we all know. So it's interesting that it takes almost exactly 3 years for me to finally get up and step on the stage and really bring myself forward to other women. I'm so ready for this.
You brought up a really good point, Kimberly. This visibility isn't a like overnight thing. You're like, oh, I'm going to just do this. It's
Mhm.
tiny little steps. It's us developing who we are. I love that you brought up 3 years. It took me 3 years to discover my clarity, courage, and confidence, and to
Yes.
really grow inside that concept. So
Yes.
this is a pathway that takes time, but there's many little wins along the way.
Oh,
But you
yes.
gotta start.
And you gotta stay. That is the key right there too, is being consistently showing up, even when it feels like it's not going to work. I always think of the parable of that diamond miner who gave up 3 feet away before he hit the gold miner, right? He gave up, sold the land, and the next owner found it 3 feet ahead where he stopped. So never giving up, not quitting, and just moving forward, even if it is a tiny step, even if it's getting out of bed and saying, I got this. That's how I get through anyways.
And Kimberly, so now is the time for the magic question.
Uh-oh.
Why does visibility matter?
Why does visibility matter? Well, it matters because being unseen, I just feel like there's so much of all of us that was intended to be seen. And as I alluded to earlier about a path or a scripted life that was laid before us, and having the courage to step up and say that was not necessarily the path that I was set here to do, and sharing my story and being visible about it, I feel like finally gives people permission. And then people that actually know me too, or have known me over the years and have crossed my path, will understand where I went, who I am really, because I feel like I was always a misunderstood person, which also made me question who I was. So stepping forward also gives myself permission, while also giving others permission to also just step forward and be who they truly are, and what aligns with their purpose and their soul, if you will. And not only that, but me being visible, or us being visible singularly, also creates the collective visibility, which is something we need in this world more than anything, with all the systems that have been in place for so long. that just require this feminine balance to come into the picture. So we got to step out of the shadows. We've got to come forth, and we've got to speak our truth.
Ooh.
That was beautiful.
Thank you.
Oh, you've actually taken the words out of, like, I don't know what to say.
Oh,
Oh, I just want to sit with that for a little bit. Oh, what do you got, Christina?
oh.
Wow. Yeah, Kimberly, that was just amazing. I mean, the summation, there is no other words that can follow up what you just said. You encompassed so much of what we're standing for, what we're working with, what we're working towards, and just, being able to unite us together as women in the power that we have, and understanding that when we stand together hand in hand, we can move mountains.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So if you want to hear more from Kimberly, this is the room you want to do, because she's going to bring the heart and soul of who you are, like, you just, in a very safe, warm, fun way. Like, it's not going to be hard. It's not going to be scary. This is a way for you to just maybe have a new way of perspective, or, be able to have a different conversation. That's what Kimberly's bringing to the table here. So if you want to hear more of Kimberly's wisdom and heart and mission, and just her knowledge that she brings from decades and decades of just experience, come to the conference, join us, get to know her. And I'll guarantee you, I cannot wait to give Kimberly a hug. And I invite you all to do the same, because she is a person you want to know.
Thank you.
Amazing. And I can't wait to be in the room with you, Kimberly. This is going to be an amazing conference with amazing speakers. And I want to thank you for joining us today on this special speakers edition of Women Getting Visible. I'm Christina, this is Amy, and our special guest, Kimberly. Thank you, and thank you everyone for watching and listening today. We'll see you in the room.
Beautiful.
Share your story. Own your name. Step in.
Well, hello there, and welcome to this special speaker edition of Women Getting Visible. We are getting ready for Minneapolis this June, and we're bringing you the speakers. I am Christina Vidovich, the visibility strategist, along with Amy Noobsome, the growth strategist, and today we have the incredible Chrissy. Welcome, Chrissy.
Hi.
We are
I'm so pleased to be here. This is so awesome. You have been bringing the party since like day one, and it never stops. Like, it's awesome. The energy is out of this planet.
Yay. And that's what we love to do. And Christina's always fun to be around, and definitely in the room. It's going to be a big party, and there'll probably be moving and dancing. And, that's why we love to bring that energy always to the room, no matter if it's a podcast or in person. So, yes.
Yeah. So, Chrissy, everyone wants to get to know about you and what you're bringing to the room. So, tell us what is, without giving too much away, driving your message that you're going to bring to the Women Getting Visible conference of courage, clarity, and confidence.
Yeah. So, all right. So I think we all tell stories that relate to our own life experiences. And so I am a professor of communication. I'm the director of communication program at the university where I teach. I'm a co-chair for fundraising. I serve on 3 committees. Then there's ad hoc committees. I have 2 children who have failure to launch. They're 21 and 19. I have 2 dogs. I have a cat. I run an entrepreneurial business on the side. I'm a SAG-AFTRA actor. So I'm constantly auditioning. You can see I have my voiceover set up just sitting here. And that's what I do in a 24-hour day, right? And so I think that, like me, there are so many high achieving women like yourselves. And I think that we get praised for how much we can carry. Like, wow, Christy, you just killing it. And you just always have so much going on. And how do you do all of that? And we're celebrated for it, right? We're dependable. We say yes most of the time. We struggle to say no. We look to others as strong and capable and resilient. And we are. And those are beautiful qualities, but they can also become traps to our lives if we don't disconnect, if we don't stop to ask whether all of the things that we are doing are about us, or is it really being impactful for our families, or is my ability to do all of these things really good? And is this the life that we want to keep building? So I think a lot of women will probably, especially at this event, will be very like, yes, that is exactly what my life is like.
Yes, it's such a good thing to recognize that we wear so many multiple hats that some of them we don't even recognize because we're playing them so well or so often that we get a little bit overwhelmed. We get a little bit like, and some we get recognized for and some we don't get recognized for. And you're like, oh, not every hat needs to be equal. You know, that idea, just take a breath. Yes.
Exactly. Some of those hats have big brims, some of them are little, some have feathers and some don't.
Right.
And then if it's Christina's, it's got to have sparkle.
Feathers and sparkles. Oh, yes.
Oh, yes. Why not have fun with them?
Yeah, I love it. I think that, some key aspects of the talk, which it's built out, but watching the way that you two are engaging, like in our LinkedIn messaging and kind of doing some research on the women in your community who are being asked to talk, I'm trying to find ways to make it even more specific to the women who I'm going to be spending 3 days with in really exciting ways. So the surprise is that there are pieces I can't even tell you about yet because I don't know yet. I'm still piecing some of that stuff together, but I do know that it is about, there being a difference between performance success and actual success and how we view success and what that means. I mean, what it looks like to other people, and then how we can maybe use that information to decide whether we love doing that. And I do. So no shame to anybody who loves to be crazy busy. Or if maybe we want to find the moments where we can scale back some of the things because they're not actually serving the person that we're growing into. And as old as I am, yes, I am still growing into the person I'm going to be, So it is for like heart-driven women, which most of the women in my life tend to be, who know they have something more to give and they want to make a bigger impact, I think, with less of themselves being deteriorated. I think that would be the best way for me to bring that, together.
Yeah, what I really love though is the communication, the actress, just the storytelling that you are as a person and bringing that to the room. It's just like, I love even the fact that you're like, it's developing as we go. So I can't wait to be in that room with you and to see these things develop as we go. Oh, I'm going to watch your face and your body language.
Yeah, so it is, so storytelling, the hero's journey or the heroine's journey, which is what I studied for my, my terminal degree, is at the heart of every talk that I give. So really, really digging in deep into the hero's journey. We're the hero in this story. So taking everyone on that journey, starting with the call to adventure and then being back in the ordinary world after going through the special world and coming home with the elixir, so that's all integrated into that. And yes, because I am theatrically trained and television and film trained, and I have a tendency to be relatively big, it is probably going to be, most people probably won't even hear anything I say because they're so fascinated by how much movement I make while I'm hopping about. Yeah. Hopefully people will hear what I say, but yes, I am very expressive, but it is the storytelling part of the way that I communicate is also how I teach.
Well, I think you brought up something really important too. It's the choices you choose, right? It's what you want and how you are choosing your journey to be. That's important part of that journey is like not what others tell you to do, but you're going to be like, I love that you said you're like, I love being busy. But some of us maybe are like, we need to slow down a bit. So then we have to choose what's important and what's not.
Yeah.
And that's part of the journey.
Burnout hides behind competence, right? You can be so tired, but you're so competent. You're going to get up and you're going to put on that good face and nobody's going to be aware of your burnout.
I'm so guilty of that. Yeah. I remember talking to my doctor at my burnout. She's like, you need to go to the emergency right now. I'm like, no, I have a presentation tomorrow that I have to finish. They're counting on me and I'll do it after the presentation. She's like, only because your blood pressure isn't skyrocketing right now, I will let you do it.
Oh my gosh. That is it.
That is exactly what happened. And it was really stupid of me, to be honest.
But isn't that wild? I mean, this is not a cultural thing across every country in the world. It is a cultural thing for late stage capitalist societies, especially in which for women, a women's movement made it so that women became not only competitors of men, where they are competing to be like men rather than competing to be what they are, which is better than men in many categories. And this is not intended to be a conversation about gender or sexism or anything like that, but just because of the way that it's gone, women are competing with each other as men and against men in men's roles as men, rather than bringing their whole woman self to the table and competing in the nourishing way that the feminine energy tends to bring into an experience. So if we just took over everything, we'd probably all only work 4 days a week, never on our period. Give me. You can leave that in for my sake, but if you need to cut that out, I'm fine with it. And certainly not during menopause. I can return to work 10 years later. Fabulous. But the rest of it's crazy talk.
I love it because what you're saying too is like, we do have periods of ups and downs. And, there's moments where you're like, I am so tired. I need a nap.
Yeah.
I'm grateful I'm self-employed. And I'm like, I'm going to go take one.
Yes.
But when you work at corporate, you can't just be like, I'm going to go home for about an hour. There's not an allowance for that. Yeah. And it's proven that creativity and your energy gets better when you can have those pauses and those moments to take for yourself and nourish yourself. But they're not widely accepted. Like even from my own mother, who now falls asleep every day because she's gotten older, still is like, you need a nap? I'm like, well, you do. Why can't I? Yeah. I love that. It's taking control of our own narrative and what we need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seems to me business ownership for women is the only way to go. So you can get your naps when you want to.
I have napped every day since I was 17. I love my naps. Absolutely. That is part of the reason that I became an entrepreneur, because I could create my own schedule. And, and it's so interesting when we're talking about the burnout and the language with men. And it's just like how many women that I've met who have stepped away from corporate and had to learn literally how to communicate again of like, oh, I can't talk to people like that, but I had to talk to people like that over here. And it's like, oh, it's like you're having people cry. Like, it's like, settle it down. Yeah, it's so amazing to hear about that.
I totally agree. There's times where I'm coaching people and I'm like, that's corporate talk. If you want to talk to business owners, get rid of that language. It won't work.
Yeah, it's true. I did a training today for folks who raise money for nonprofits. And I'm, teaching them how to change the conversations. They're being handed a script and they're supposed to make that impactful and successful in money campaigns. And it's like, yeah, we all know when you call me for money, I know exactly that when you're reading a script. And so we're rewriting scripts based on the hero's journey. So we're putting people, the hero is the donor. It's not you. It's not the organization. And it's not the people that organization serves. We need to understand their story, but I'm the hero. If you're calling me for money, I'm the hero. Well, at some point I said something like, and then you don't ask them for permission. You just cut to the chase because they're used to being asked for money. So you just say, and so now, how much would you like to give today? And that is a direct ask and it's uncomfortable for people. They're like, well, I would rather say something like, would you be willing? And I'm like, yep. And they will say, well, I'm not that willing because I'm not calling you. And so you just like that there's some corporate jargon and then there's some directness that women don't tend to love, right? Most of the people in that audience were women saying, well, I would prefer to give them a little more wiggle room. And the men are like, nope, I can get behind. How much do you want to give today? And it's just an interesting dichotomy between the two energies. I wouldn't even call them sexes or genders because that's, fluid in our culture, but those energies have very specific traits.
Well, and I like that you brought up the directness. That's something, at least me in the Midwest, has never been, it was very uncomfortable being direct. Like it was hard for me to like do eye contact directly into somebody's eyes. I would always like kind of look down. Like I had to learn those skills. And you kind of, you use them, it's interesting how many I'm sorry conversations you get to leave behind because you're more direct and deliberate with your conversations. And it's like, oh, I didn't realize that's what you were asking, but it wasn't very clear.
Right.
So those conversations I've just known I get to eliminate those because I don't like conflict either. So being direct and more communicative has helped reduce the conflict conversation.
It does do that. Just a quick plug for the arts and theater specifically. My training from the very young age of 6 was in theater. And so getting on stage, learning lines, committing them to memory and then using them as if they were me. And then having conversations with other people, pretending to be somebody else and then getting on stage and doing that in front of an audience of people is probably the best possible training ground for creating confidence and learning how to take scripts, which most of us have to use, especially at the beginning of sales jobs or marketing jobs or anything where you're putting yourself forward and saying, I would like you to hire me. You need to have a direct ask. There's so many components of theater that train people to become that competent and that confident and that communicative and that communicative, that for us to see a nation that cuts it as a program first in high schools and in colleges is shocking to me because somebody's not paying attention. This is how we grow confident employees, which you may not want to be an employee, but you're certainly going to lose the job to a well-trained actor who can show up on camera and talk her way into the job. You know what I mean? So it's just interesting to me. So it's a plug for the.
And a great one. So, yeah, you want to go, Amy? Oh, yeah. There's the tenants. Pooh. So, and I love this. I mean, there's so much energy in your messaging as it's coming across, and I love it. And it's true, those pieces of the arts, the pieces that we're allowed to be and find ourselves within, and then just go, let's play with this, let's play with that. And there's this level of play that goes along with it too. And so one of the things I'm thinking about is, with the women that are coming into this room, what is the thing that you would love to see them play with from what you're bringing?
So one of the plans that I have is role playing. Don't worry, it's safe, it's fun, and it's engaging, and people actually end up loving this part of talks. When I don't do them, they're not as excited about what they just went through. And I think a lot of the conversations women are going to be having, regardless of what the role is that they're in their career, is having to have conversations where if they have to have 20 of them before they're able to say, have one that's comfortable, that's 20 whatever down the toilet, the proverbial toilet. Let's do it where it's safe and we've loved each other already and we're already engaging each other. And then we do some role play and some of that theater gets to come out. And now you've expressed yourself enough here where it's like, well, that's exactly what I needed. And now I'm going to I'll go back into the ordinary world after I've come out of this special experience, and I'll be able to have this conversation with much more confidence because I've done it a couple of times with women who I knew at the moment, like, really cared about me. I think by the time I talk, that's going to be the case. So, and that's all thanks to you too.
Oh, listen to you. Our
warmed it up.
Yes.
You know the room and you belong in our room, Chrissy.
Yeah,
Yes.
so I think they'll have actionable steps. Then we'll have some rehearsals. I call them rehearsals. I don't think people like role play, so we don't leave that language out of there. We'll have some rehearsals, and then maybe another surprise or two. But fun surprises, nothing anybody's going to worry about.
Love it.
Yep.
You'll have to be there to learn.
Yeah, I think it's really fun when you try things out. And I remember I was in a comedy club, and they were doing like a workshop for like business on how to sell, right? And I remember they're like, turn to the person you know next to you and convince them to go on a trip with you. And this happened to be like my best friend. And I was like, all right. And she's always told me no. And I was like, all right, let's do this. And I'm like convinced. And she's like, no. And then no. And the whole idea was her to say no. And eventually she's like, what should we do? Where should we go? And then it was so funny. I'm like, it actually worked. And the funny thing is, about 6 months later, we went to Mount Rushmore together and had actually planned a trip.
You manifested, you spoke it into existence.
Right. It was like, that worked out. That was awesome.
That's creation.
Yeah. And all over just the idea of overcoming the no. And I don't even know how it happened, but it was just so seamless. Once it just started, it kind of accelerated. I'm like, that was fun. Even though it was a little bit scary to figure out how to do that, I'm like, nope, that was cool.
Chrissy, I am so excited to be in the room, and it is time for that special question. Why does visibility matter to you?
I think that we all want to make our mark on the lives of the people that we touch. It's an innate drive and desire. And the only way that we can actually do that effectively is by being visible to those people that we want to serve.
Yes, completely agree. Yes, like I feel like we have like an applause right now would be great. Yes, we are so excited to have you in the room and the energy that you're going to bring and be able to have play and engage with others and just, you know, actually even get to know the person sitting next to you as well. So that's what this whole thing is about, getting to know the room, getting to know yourself, and leaving with a bunch of friends that you didn't expect to know when you attend this conference in Minneapolis here in June 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, because it's coming up quick and we'd love to have you in the room with us.
Share your story. Own your name.
Hi, welcome to this special edition of Women Getting Visible, the Speaker Edition. I am Christina Vidovich, Visibility Strategist, along with Amy Noobsome, Growth Strategist, and today our guest is Deborah, a Marketing Strategist and Coach. Welcome, Deborah.
Hello, ladies. Good morning.
Good morning. We are so excited to have Deborah here because she's going to be talking about kind of a little bit of thing that we love to avoid is sales and marketing, the idea of like getting ourselves out there, getting ourselves seen, but also asking for the sale and being valued for what we are worth. So we're so excited for this conversation today with you, Deborah.
Yes, let's do it.
Well, Deborah, I'm going to ask you, you've coached a lot of women, you share so much advice, and coming into this conference of courage, clarity, and confidence, what is driving your message for this conference?
Thank you. Well, when we first started talking about how to best impact people in a room, I've been to a lot of business conferences and I have, it's wonderful when we connect with inspiring stories and when we get to see other women go before us, when we get to see other people standing on stage, we always naturally evaluate, how would I talk about this? What would I say if I had this opportunity? And some of the most impactful things that I have received as an audience member at women's business conferences have been actual practical nuggets that I could whip out my notebook and start taking notes and say, I'm going to apply this right away. So when I was thinking about what would I want to bring, that's the first thing that came to my mind is like, I want these women to literally walk out of the room and have not just shifted their mindset about something, but like actually know what to do with that. So practical, actual sales steps that they can take that's going to take them from thinking about how they want to strategize, their offers, their conversations with potential clients, to not only making the ask, but knowing that they're doing it in a way that is aligned with their higher vision for their business. So I'm going to be working on that with people.
I love that because the idea of just being, you can do one thing and just think through a sales, but it's actually practicing it, doing it, experiencing the sale is the hardest part, but it's also where you learn the most. And I love that you're going to give us practical tips to figure out like, what is that language that we use? We're not afraid to say something and we're more aligned. And so then we're like, ooh, how could I get in front of somebody and ask this question or engage with them? It takes a little bit of that fear away and then puts it in a different perspective. What kind of results have you seen, Deborah, that, people that apply this technique have like seen in their lives and their business?
Yeah. So right now inside my coaching program, 100% of my clients are building something new-ish. So they are very good at what they do. They're experts, but the online construct, we work on lead generation and sales systems and the technical stuff behind that. So that does dip into brand design and messaging but so much of it is energetic. So much of it is like, who are you inside the business? And I love working on the technical structure and the actual operations and the, the underground systems that make this all kind of an amazing miracle that works on the internet. But strip away all of that, strip away the colors and the brands and the photos and the da-da-da-da. What's underneath of that is an energetic belief in that what you're going to do has great value, will help somebody get a solution to a problem, period. So it's all an inside job. Like, it's really, truly inner work. And when you first get into business in the internet space, you get, excited about building a website, and you start learning about lead magnets and, email delivery systems and all this technical stuff. And it gets very overwhelming very quickly. And then once you get to be 2 to 3 years into business, you realize none of that stuff matters if you don't believe in your product and your offer. So while I am technically a strategist and a business coach, and we do operations, like hands in the clay operations, I would say 80% of the work I do with my clients is about believing in themselves and building confidence. And so what I have seen change once they start to practice the language of self-confidence and belief in self is they go from fumbling at the finish line when somebody's interested in their work to being absolutely clear, crystal clear. This is why I do this. This is how I'm going to help you get the result. And this is some proof that I have from other people. Like, we put it all together in language that feels really, really confident because it's grounded in, it's fact-based, right? It's no longer flashy, trying to impress people. It's not about, entertaining people or performing on the internet. It's like, I actually do this work. It's good work. It's for you. Why? Because you have this problem and I have this solution. Let's do this. And that confidence is what people are seeking. And it's very energetic. It's really the root of all sales is energetics. And so believing in yourself, and it's funny because your theme is clarity, courage, and confidence. And we will touch on all 3 of those things in my workshop because the clarity of your message really matters. The courage to say, I'm the one that you want to work with. And then the confidence to just know and ride that wave while your adult, independent audience member gets to make their own autonomous decision without you tricking them or fear of missing out. Like, all of those tactics in sales that leave us feeling a little bit empty as customers do not need to happen. It's really about you being confident that you can help them, putting your best foot forward in the marketplace, and then letting your audience make an adult decision about whether or not you're the right person for them. And so that's the confidence piece. And when you just stand in that confidence and people can see that, it helps them make a decision. It helps them be a lot more clear about whether or not you're the one for them. You might not always be the one, but they will make a decision, and you can live confidently knowing that you'll give them a great service if they pick you.
One of the things I loved about it, you said the confidence to be you in that sales conversation. And one of the things I learned in 25 years is confidence also means like being quiet in the sales conversation, right? And to just let them think about it, let them kind of just ponder a little bit and ask a question, and then waiting for them to engage. And that's what I see a lot of people do, is to keep talking, and they keep talking and they keep talking. And I'm like, stop. Like, stop talking. But you have to be confident in yourself and be comfortable with that silence, that sales conversation. Because then you turn on your active listening skills. And I love that because when you're feeling good about yourself and you feel good about what you're offering, you can be that give and take relationship in that sales conversation.
Yeah, I call it holding the pose.
Ooh.
Say your price. State your platform. Like, this is how I work with clients. This is what it costs. This is how we start. This is how we work together. This is what you can expect. And then hold. Say nothing more. Let them think about it. Give them space. They need to make a decision, especially at a high ticket level. Trust that they are adults that know their budget and they can make a decision. You don't need to, convince anybody of anything. Definitely, you do not need to chase them. If it's right, and this is the thing that I think is important too. If it's the right relationship for you to have a client, to work with a client, they will choose you because they will feel it too. It's a relationship. And so focus on getting to know them and making sure maybe after a few conversations, you start to realize we might not be the right match to work together, right? Because it should go both ways. They should be a good match for you. You should be a good match for them. And it takes a little time to figure that out.
Yeah, it's so fun because the other thing I'm hearing is, that excitement that we have when we start our business and the reason why we're starting our business. And then we have to go through the experience for the next 2, 3 years of building the business to being able to find that excitement again. But now, just like we're talking about, is you're giving them the new language to now, oh, wow, this is how we talk about it because yes, we have matured, we've gone past the toddler years now and we're maturing on, and to be able to ask questions that, oh, no, like I couldn't do this before, but it's like, no, you have to do this because your business needs you.
Yeah. And Christina, that's an amazing point. We are evolving constantly. And sometimes, and especially in this sort of age of AI, where there's a lot of technical things that get handed by platforms, and we can achieve quantum leap style evolution in our own identity, like the identity shift that we need to make to be able to confidently ask for a sale. It isn't so far out of reach. It's an inside job, but it's not like a heavy, necessarily boulder up a mountain every single time. It could just be you making the decision, I'm ready, I'm worth it. And I think we tend to make things harder than they need to be in business. We tend to look out into the world and project our self-identity, self-value, self-worth against what we see other people doing successfully, and measure our success against people who have either, could have lots more years of experience, could have, are just in a different lane. And so I caution my clients, do not measure yourself against somebody else's success. Stay in your own lane. Keep your blinders on. Only measure yourself to the you from yesterday and to the evolving self who you're welcoming into your life. That's it. Don't look even to your closest friend who has similar business, structure or whatever. Like, just don't compare yourself to other people because they're not doing what you do. They can't do it in the way you do it. And I have some of my peers in this industry we are doing the almost exact same thing. We're marketing strategists who do sort of the technical aspect of operations and sales and mindset coaching. It's like on paper, we could have the exact same title and program, et cetera, but we do it so differently because I'm me and she's her. And we have wildly different clients, wildly different experiences, wildly different reviews and testimonials, because even with the exact same starting point and prompt, we're just different humans. So I don't compare myself to anybody else. And by the way, it took me a while to get there. It doesn't happen overnight, but we do have to do the work. It's a muscle like any other muscle inside business that we can build. If you are someone who's like, cringe, I hate sales. Every single human being who's ever sold anything felt like that at one point in time. So welcome. It's totally something you can learn and embody and embrace and transform. And it changes your life when you do that, because then you start to connect with the right fit clients and get paid your worth. And you're like, oh, I can afford things that I need with my own skill set and business structure. And it's just really remarkable when we arrive at that point. So I love helping women bust through all that cobwebs and nonsense and get really clear, right? Clarity, build the courage through practice to make the ask, experience the failures that are going to come. You're not going to sell you're going to actually sell a very small percentage of the times that you pitch. And then have the confidence to hold the pose while your adult client makes an autonomous decision, and give them, the respect of having the wherewithal to think it through and make a decision, and just practice that over and over again.
One of the things you said was about competition, right? So I've been in the marketing world almost my entire life. And one of the things they teach you right away in school is like, do competitor analysis, compare yourself to others, who's doing what you're else. I still like doing that because I like to validate the idea, right? To see what other people are doing. How are they doing it? How can I do it differently? That's how I use my research. And I love too that you said the more confident you are, you can start to see other people in your same field not as competition. I watch Deborah every time we have a conversation. I'm like, I just like lean in. I'm like, I love listening to Deborah talk about marketing. I've been in this field for 25 years. And even my husband overheard and he goes, who is she? And we're in the same field. He goes, she's awesome. Like, what is she like? We're, you know, she had all these questions, and we're in the same field, and we're in awe of Deborah, right? And we can allow Deborah into our world and go, you got to meet her. You know, I partner with other marketing companies too, because we see the value of each other.
Yeah.
And when you're comfortable in your own sales, your world can expand beyond what you do and beyond who you talk to.
Yeah, it is. And I think it does really boil down to, like, really, honestly, it's an inside job. It's really about you and yourself. Your ability to sell confidently is not about anybody else. It's not about the client who rejects or accepts you. It's not about the peers in the industry that you're in competition with. It's, do you believe in yourself? Do you? If you can, let's go.
Right.
That's it. It really does. I don't think it's that more complicated than self-worth, self-value, which is, by the way, the hardest part of business. So it's simple, and yet also it's like eating the frog, right? Like that concept of like, do the hard thing first. Well, the hard thing is believing in yourself that you can actually achieve your goals. The rest, there's templates for the rest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I'm excited to connect with you ladies and the women in the room in Minneapolis.
Yes, it's incredible. You know, and it's so funny, Deborah, when I think about, you know, a common question I love to ask the speakers is, you know, who should be stepping in the room with you? I mean, and I can see how, you know, anybody from a beginning entrepreneur to somebody who's had lots of experience can always learn something more, because it's just the way that you deliver and your style. But, you know, what would you say is something unique that you really defines you and what you do? And that's the, oh my gosh, there's the warm and fuzzies. That's why I went Deborah.
Well, my background, my young life entirely is creative. I was a dancer. I was in the theater. I am still an active songwriter and musician. And I believe that creativity is a resource as a business owner that is, not only can you not ever run out of it, the more you use it, the more you get. And I believe it's our individual superpower. So every single human being listening to this or, you know, alive is creative by nature of having been created. Like, we're creative people. We all have something creative in us, meaning you can come up with a brand new idea that's all your own at any given time. And that creative power that you hold is your tool to wield to differentiate yourself and to build something unique in the world. And so everything that I have done has been risky in business, but driven by this creative force that's like, yeah, but nobody else is going to do that. And just watching other people around me who have been successful, like, success leaves clues. Mm-hmm. Like, look at any successful artist in any realm, whether it be, you know, traditional disciplines and studio arts, or like, you know, the ballet or anything, anywhere in the creative universe. People that succeed do something different because they just allow creativity to flow through them and just give it space and nurture it and carve away at the clay. And so I think that we all have this. I believe we all possess the ability to carve out something wildly unique. And it's a gift that we've been given. And so I come from that point of view with my clients, and the work that I do is like, I could give you guys the cookie cutter formula and say, everybody fill in this template, but it's going to be so interesting and so different because you are a creative person. And so I think that.
Hello there, and welcome to our special edition of Women Getting Visible. This is the speaker edition for Minneapolis. I'm Christina Vidovich, a visibility strategist, along with Amy Newsom, growth strategist. And today we have the amazing Dr. Cindy Howard. Welcome to the show.
Oh, wow. You know, I would respond. I got to do that in English. I would respond with singing, but then nobody's going to listen. So I'm just going to say thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
See, this
voice.
Show we're going to have. It's going to be incredible. It's going to be so much fun. And Cindy, I'm so excited that you are our featured keynote for this conference. Where's the roof?
Woo! I'm coming.
So, as we don't want to give too much away of what's coming, but tell us what was fascinating to you about the whole conference, the women getting visible, the courage, the clarity, the confidence, and what you're going to be bringing to the room that everybody needs to buckle up for.
Oh, yeah. You know what? So I think I love the title, Women Getting Visible, right? We live in this space sometimes where we feel like we're not seen, we're not heard, nobody knows who we are. I come from a medical type background, chiropractic background, where it was a good old boys network for a long time, right? So constantly trying to scrape and crawl and raise my hand to be seen. And women are such an amazing group of human beings, right? Because we have this amazing ability to continue to nurture everything around us, but still elevate to the top of our game, because nothing can stop us. And I love that about this opportunity. And that's exactly what we're going to do, right? Is we're going to, all of us, the speakers, the participants, the people who are volunteering, like everybody is just going to elevate to the top of what we're capable of doing. And by the way, have a really good time doing it. So we're going to incorporate the fun with the hard work. And that's what got me really inspired to be part of this organization, this group. It's the people. It's not even the organization, it's the people. And just feed off the energy and have a good time and go home learning something.
Yes, and that was the whole point of why we created it. We wanted somebody to like take it home, but also like have a idea of like what to do next, right? And that's how we built this conference and why we chose like Dr. Cindy to be here, because we want you to leave actually practicing it throughout the whole conference and applying it, because these are not complicated ideas. These are like, take it and go. Run with this immediately.
Yes.
And that's the easy part. The hard part is just to show up, right? To get yourself there. Because when I met Dr. Cindy, I was like, oh my God, I love everything you're saying right now. And I was so excited. I'm like,
okay, so we're going to make this easy, right? Because we think about homework, and homework always has this like weird negative connotation, right? Everybody's got a bad story of growing up and doing homework, or sometimes in my family, not doing homework, which has a pretty significant consequence. But we're going to change that. We're going to make this conference work, but more important, like life work, right? Lifestyle work. And let's get rid of the word work too. And that's what we're going to talk about, because sometimes work even has a negative connotation. Let's just fix our lives, right? With some good take home, easy things to implement. And that's the key, is it's easy. Like what I'm going to give you is not hard. It's super simple. I'm going to break it down. There's not going to be one person in the room that is going to say, I can't do this. That's not an option. And then you're going to see how the world around you I'm going to work on my English before the conference, by the way. I'm going to fix that so everything comes out clear. How the world around you, oh my God, I still can't do it. I can't do it. How the world around you, I nailed it. There we go. See, it's just practice. The world around you is going to change, and the light that we all can exude is just going to shine even brighter, because the skills are easy to master when you do have the right messaging on how to actually accomplish it. And you're going to walk out knowing that you can nail this.
And if you haven't noticed, Dr. Cindy is all about the words that you choose to say. Maybe not the flow right now. Like all of us have been stumbling over our words, right? We're not about perfectionism.
No.
We're about what the intention is and how you speak it, and owning what you speak. And that's what Dr. Cindy is all about, those words that you choose to speak out loud.
And you know what, Amy, what's really great when I fumble over my words is I actually create new ones, because I'll morph two words together and I'm like, that was actually a really cool word. And then, I throw it back to the kids who have their own set of new words that I don't understand. And I'm like, what do you mean you don't get that word? That's a really popular word. And, we just roll with that. So again, not perfect, but we roll into the creativity of that imperfection to elevate it and make it fun. So yeah, bring your imperfect self to this program. We would love to have you.
Yeah. So what are some of the results that you've seen that when people change, or not change, but they start to evolve their language? What are the results that people see?
Well, first of all, we feel better. I mean, we deliver certain messages to our brain that allows our brain to understand that we can actually control our emotions, our physical well-being, our burnout. Let's change that word, right? Our
Thank
challenge
you.
to overcome hard things. And it's just wellness, right? So our wellness actually improves. And then all the things follow, like better relationships, like better outcomes at work, maybe new opportunities, whether it's personally or professionally. And when we use the right words and we train our brain to do that, everything else shifts. That's going to be one of my favorite words for the program, shift. Everything shifts in a way that's very positive. And that's the state we all want to sit in, right? Is this positive space of feeling amazing.
Yeah, I love this 100% because that is something I've done now probably for the last 6 weeks is to make an intentional shift of positive language. And I'll just like you did, just a moment ago, it's like, I will actually take the pause to find the right word because I'm like, no, I am finished with those other words. Can we move into that positivity? And it not only feels good, it's just like, back to that manifestation. What is it that we are creating by moving into that space? And it's wonderful. So if you had to give somebody one piece of advice that they could take today, just listening here of one of those word choices that they can have, what would it be?
Me to give away like the secret sauce for the program. I'm not,
Cookies.
yeah, I don't want to do that. I'm not giving away any secret sauce. One word.
Just a little shift.
One word. A little shift. I'm going to give you a word, but it's more about the action. Is that fair?
Yes.
Awareness.
Yes.
We need to have awareness, because when we have awareness of what we say, what we do, what we think, what we feel, then we can decide if it serves us or not. And if you're unaware, you're unaware.
I think that's
such... show up for the real juice. That's just a little like off the cuff juice.
But that's an important one, right? I remember when I was my first career, I was getting very negative. I was getting actually harassed at work, and with that all, I became very kind of like pulling on that toxic energy, and I was starting to become a very negative person. So one of my coworkers goes, "Amy, you're always talking in a negative way." And I'm like, "What?" And I'm like, "Can you give me an example?" And she did. And then I started being aware of what I would say. And I'm like, oh my gosh, when did I get this way? And how do I change it? And it took a lot of awareness and being conscious of that to shift out of that language, because my environment didn't change. I had to change my language.
It's so true. And the easiest way I can get people to start to think about this is actually about food and diet. Let's think about this, right? Like half the world wants to lose weight and part of the world wants to gain weight, and nobody's happy with what they look like, right? And we have this whole space of food. And even in my private practice, we talk to patients all the time. I'm like, okay, what did you eat? And they go, I eat healthy. I'm like, okay, great. Tell me what you ate. And they're like, well, I had like sausage and an egg McMuffin for breakfast. And then, I reached into the candy jar at work. And I'm like, okay, where is the healthy stuff? Like, you just told me you ate healthy. And again, we walk through our day putting food in our mouth, not aware of what we're consuming, what it could do to us, right? And if we think about language in our workspace, in our personal space, as the food that we're consuming, right? We go through our whole day, maybe just grabbing that one little piece of candy, or, that little fried French fry instead of the sweet potato. And at the end of the day, we think we ate really healthy because there was some fish in there and maybe a banana. But really, right, the language we use and the attitude that we take, to your point at work, was so negative, so wrong, bad choices, that because there's a couple good things in there, we don't pay attention. So the awareness helps you really recognize, what space are you living in? What kind of food are you putting into your body and your brain? Kind of makes you hungry now, doesn't it? Like, don't reach for the candy. No candy.
Yeah, it is. It's one of those things where, the choice is yours. And the awareness has to be a part of it. And that's why clarity is such a big part of this conference, is that's your awareness.
Yes.
And it's not always just this big aha. Sometimes you're like, and sometimes it's the word where you repeat too often too. I remember going to tell, like somebody's like, you say this word a lot. I'm like, I do, don't I? I'm going to just change this up a little bit, have a little more fun, add more vocabulary into my language and see where I can go. I
Right.
made a game out of words,
Okay.
and why not? I was told I was not a good at English and spelling, and words were not my friend as a kid. And I'm like, now I have a huge vocabulary because
Nice.
I made it fun.
Yeah. And you said something really key as you were responding to my comment, and that is we actually have a choice. And when we choose to do something different, there I go again, making up my own words, Diggins. That was like different. Okay. Different, bigger, better, bolder, brighter. It's amazing what we really do have control over, that a lot of times we forget that, right? And we don't give ourselves that permission to have the control. We just become victim and go, well, not my, nothing I can do about it. And that's 100% wrong, right? We always have a choice. So I love that you made that transition. Did that person finally admit that you went from negative to positive? Like, are they still in your life?
Not anymore, but because I left that job a long time ago. But yeah, she did notice a huge shift in me, and we made an agreement. I go, please catch me when I'm doing that. And so she was my like accountability partner, and she'd be like, Amy, you're being negative again. I'm like, ooh, let me try again. And so she helped me get out of that habit. And so it was really helpful to have somebody there to catch those words that I was missing.
So she was your swear jar. You know, the jar that like you have in the house that you got to put $1 in when somebody swears? She was your swear jar. Everybody needs one of those.
We do. I will have to tell her that.
Make swear jars, but that would have been a good gig for me to bring a swear jar for everybody to the conference. Nobody's getting one of those. I don't have time. Just so you know. Okay. You have to get your own. Make your own. Go to the dollar store and buy a jar and decorate it with a Sharpie marker. You got your own.
Or you just have one jar and it's yours. You got to put it in.
Ooh, you know what? Maybe we can raise some money for the cause. So every time somebody drops a swear word at the conference or says a negative something, we're going to have
How about negative word? How about negative word?
Yeah, I was going to say, wait a minute, I'll be adding things to the jar.
We're going to raise like millions of dollars. I hope the second half of the conference we raise zero because we got it right. How's that?
Yes.
So we got to get our money fast.
See, the things that you can create when three minds get together and the play and the ideas come together, and you get a swear jar that, you can participate with for charity. I love it.
All right, good. We're going to work on that, I think. Or maybe, you know what? Maybe one of the attendees can bring a really cool one and share it with all of us.
That would be an awesome thing.
All right, we'll see if anybody shows up with a negative swear money jar.
The conference is getting more interesting by the moment.
Nobody knew. That's the secret.
When you step into the room.
Yes.
That's so much fun. So, actually, one of my questions for you is like, you have been on the speaking circuit. How long have you been on it, and what was your motivation to get out there and start giving your messages?
Oh, so I've been speaking in my medical continuing education space for probably 16 or 17 years. And the motivation, actually, it's funny, I sort of fell into it on accident because I was part of a postgraduate education program, and my mentor who was teaching some of the classes was unable to teach and basically just said, hey, will you fill in for me? And I showed up with like butterflies and I couldn't get 3 words out and I was nervous, like that whole thing, right? That public speaking thing. And it's interesting how many people are afraid to do that. The vulnerability of standing on stage because it's that, will they like me? Will they throw tomatoes at me? Right? Like, what if I don't deliver? And the reality is sometimes we deliver big and sometimes for some people we just don't, right? About 3 years ago, I started to move into more of the keynote space for a couple reasons. One is, and I love the space I'm in for continuing ed, but I need a new challenge and I get bored, if you will, and I'm still very good at it, but I get bored and wanted something new to do. And I also wanted to move into a space where I got out of being in front of doctors, physicians, and in front of people that are just really stuck, and it doesn't matter what you're stuck with, but there's this, and it's very cliche. It's the, like, if I say one sentence, if I tell one story, if I have one suggestion that changes the way somebody moves through the rest of their life in a way that positively alters them, name of my book. It was worth it. It was worth it. And what I learned, which was also really cool, is the speaking for me feeds my soul. It's my ultimate high. There's nothing I love more than standing on stage. And what I learn from the response of the people that I'm with also helps me to continue to grow. So there's this bi-directional energy of helping others and at the same time helping myself to just elevate and feel good and feel, we all want to feel important and that we provide value. And that space of speaking does that for me. So I get off stage and don't ignore me, come talk to me. But I can walk around with this high for, hours afterward that I just can't find anywhere else. So it's been an awesome journey, and one that I hope one day when I have Alzheimer's and I don't know who I am, I'm still going to stand up on stage and tell dirty jokes that are inappropriate, and somebody's going to have to get me off because they're inappropriate, and I won't care because I won't remember telling them, and that'll be okay.
And you'll do it the next day again and again, right?
As long as somebody says, will you, the answer will probably be yes. Or I'll be one of those crazies on the street corner of with my negative swear jar now collecting money for my bad speaking jokes on the street corner. So I'm not going away. It's just, I guess, a matter of what the audience will look like at some point. We'll see.
Well, I love how you brought it from super nervous to all those butterflies to and what people don't realize a lot of times is you still have those, even though, even as seasoned as you are, getting up on stage, there's always that moment, but then it's the after it rides and you're just okay. And I was terrified of public speaking. And I'll be honest, I couldn't believe how exciting it is when you're done. You're like, I want more of this.
Yes.
I want more. And you're like, how can this become addicting when you started out with incredible fear? And it's one of the most fascinating things about public speaking.
I don't know who said it, so I can't give credit because I don't know, but it wasn't me. But there was
Global movement and the leader in visibility conferences for women founders through stages and community. Who's up next in the golden chair? Join us. I'm your host, Christina Vidovich of Women Getting Visible. Well, hello, everyone in the world watching us today. Oh, guess what? We got to change out the logos. This is our Women Getting Visible show today, and we are so excited to be in the room with our speakers, right, Amy?
Yes, they are backstage ready to join us. We're so excited to have you meet them, get to interact with them a little bit, or at least we get to interact with them. You get to know them a little bit better. But yes, it's all about that June event in Minneapolis that they are going to be in the room, and we are so excited for them to be there, but we'd love for you to join us if you can.
Yes, and it is so amazing. We have 10 other incredible speakers that are going to be joining Amy and I in the room, and it's just 1 week away. Ba, ba, ba. Oh, so why don't we go ahead and start bringing them in? I vote yes. Hello, Melinda. Hello, Dr. Cindy. Hello, Teresa. Hello, Kimberly. And hello, Deborah. Welcome. Yay, you are in the room. I am so thrilled. What I would love to do is say hello first to Dr. Cindy. Cindy is our Keach note. I just went with it because Cindy makes up words, and Cindy, you've got me tongue-tied with that. So welcome.
Oh my gosh, it's so great to be here. It sounds more like a dance move though than just a made-up word. So we might be Keaching on stage together when everybody shows up.
So incredible. And Cindy, you're coming to us from another conference from Nashville, but you are from the Chicago area.
I am, yes. South suburbs, the Windy City, amazing, and so excited to be coming to Minneapolis. So it won't be much different. Weather's the same, big tall buildings, lots of shopping. It's all going to be great.
Incredible. And another of our Midwesterners, Melinda, is in the house.
I'm from Des Moines, so I'm just a tiny bit south, but still in the realm.
Yes, and back on this side of the planet from Spain.
Yes, I've been back now for about a week, so I was teaching over there for the last month. And I've got to say, I miss the beach view, but it does feel nice to be back in the Midwest.
Wow. And then we have one of our locals, Teresa, who's going to be in the room. Hi, Teresa.
Hi, glad to be here and especially glad to be at the conference coming up soon.
Yay, yay, our master networker. Incredible. And Kimberly, you've bounced from all over, but you are a Minnesota native.
Yes, indeed. Hello. Yep, I'm a Minneapolis, St. Paul person. And yeah, I travel all over the place and I've been coast to coast, north, south, west, east, and currently in Minnesota for the season before it changes.
Well, it's still nice and hot there. And then our furthest speaker is coming from New York. Deborah, hello. Deborah is in the house.
Hello, ladies. Yes, excited to bring some New York love to Minneapolis.
Amazing. I cannot wait. Honestly, we have so many good things coming. So we have speaking, we have workshops, we have activities that are going over the couple of days. And I just know the room is already electric. You know, Amy and I, after going through, particularly more Amy than me, 65 applications and interviews, to narrow it down has not been an easy task. But let me just say, I know each and every one of you just are bringing some incredible clarity, courage, and confidence into the room.
Yes. And the fun thing is each and every one of them was chosen on purpose with this amazing agenda that we had. And these ladies just fit it so perfectly, you know, starting off with Dr. Cindy. When I met with her, I was like, oh, I love everything she's saying because it is totally my language, because she talks about the words we use. So tell us just a little bit more about what you're going to be sharing with us in the room, Cindy.
Well, I'm bringing crayons. We'll start with that. So get ready to do maybe some coloring. We'll see how it goes, but everybody's going to get a crayon. And we are going to talk about how it's so easy to run down negativity. And we're just wired that way. And because it's so easy to do that, we're going to teach you, we're going to work together. It's not just me. We're going to teach you how to shift out of that negativity bias into a state of positivity, just to find the gifts and love.
Wonderful. Yeah. I think we lost that last little sentence, but it's great. Thank you so much, Dr. Cindy. We're so excited to have you as the keynote that we have for day one. Melinda is the other opposite of talking. It's listening. And so we're so excited to have that conversation as well. Tell us a little bit about what you're bringing.
Yeah, I actually just taught a bunch of undergrad students before I came about networking, and at the core of it was about listening. It was the exact opposite. They thought it was going to be about talking, but it was about listening. And so it's these basic components of what compassionate listening is, and it can fit into our personal and professional lives. So I really break it down into really practical, meaningful applications that people can take back to their lives right away. And so I'm excited to get to dive into hearing Cindy's talk and then getting to get the counterbalance of mine as well.
So much fun. Yay. And then Teresa, one of the things that, you know, stood out is that you are a master networker. You love to connect people and show them what tricks that we have for networking. Can you share a little bit about that with us?
Yes. So I'll be building on Melinda and the listening and being present. It really about showing up in the way that makes sense for us with our networking and is intentional with our goals. So the clarity, the courage, and the confidence, we'll be practicing that together through networking. And so I know that people are going to leave feeling way more confident and courageous with their networking because they'll have that clarity in mind and everything else falls into place.
Yes, wonderful. And then we have Deborah, who's giving a workshop that I cannot wait to be a part of as well, is about sales. Their confidence in being able to price ourselves the way we need to, the way we deserve to be. And it's a lot of why some I've noticed with people that, you know, maybe we'll avoid the visibility because we don't want to have the sales conversation. So Deborah, tell us a little bit about your workshop.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'm excited to talk about more the energetic side of sales. I really believe that so much of what makes sales and sales conversations feel electric, magnetic, and just fluid and easy has to do with it's an inside job. I always say it's inner work. It's really about self-worth, self-value. So we're going to be breaking that out into some exercises that everyone can experience, and it will shift your point of view on the value of your work.
Lovely. Well, Christina's on mute, so I'll go. Would you like to come off mute? There you go.
As my mouth was moving and nobody could hear me, I said with Deborah, I love sales and sailing. I think both of them are great.
Sailing.
We can sail together. Oh, I love it. And so much fun too is Kimberly. Kimberly has such a unique story about her past to her present and what she is bringing to the room. So Kimberly, will you share with us?
Sure. So I'm bringing in mostly, I should say it's an integrated version of myself, but mostly like my courage to just get into an RV and spend the last 3 years basically in ceremony and recognizing and healing my wounds, I guess you could say, around my life in corporate and then my life growing up. And I just have so many lived experiences that really like beat me up to the point where I was like really not trusting myself. And so I have a really deep trust wound that I worked through, and I'm like, wow. And I couldn't believe how many things actually this related to. And so I think coming off of listening and coming off of, sales and doing the work that's inside, my workshop is going to be more reflective and really looking at the areas that people hesitate from, and that they don't take that first step forward, or they think they have to be ready, and the perfectionism and all the things that actually at the end of the day boil down to self-doubt. So my workshop will take us on a journey on just sitting with yourself and re-emerging with trust within, trusting what's within in order to take that step forward. Because I knew nothing about being in an RV, but I sure bought one and got on the road. So I figured it all out. I was not prepared. So thank you to my Zip Line bumper for the lessons.
Well, I love that you brought up, Kimberly, the beauty of imperfection. And that's what all of us are bringing and bringing to the table. Like, we don't have to be perfect. Not one of us has spoke perfectly in this conversation, but that's what makes it beautiful, right? Is we get to be real and with you all the way. And that perfectionism stops us from being visible. So who here, I'm just going to have you all raise your hands. Who here has had that happen where they stop? They didn't start because they were afraid, like the perfectionism kind of, see, you're not alone if you're listening out there. Now I get to flash. Yay. So, yes, that does stop almost every single person is that perfectionism. And we just want you to just try, have fun with it, test it out. And this is a perfect way. And this is the leaders that are going to help you see different ways to maybe see something different.
Yes, I love Disco Amy when she showed up.
It went away.
That's great lighting for a new dance move.
I know, I should just do that every time it decides to do that.
Well, guess what? It's time for our mid-roll dance break. So every podcast, we do a mid-roll break to talk about our visibility accountability group that Amy and I hold every Wednesday, Eastern, 7 p.m., 6 p.m. Central, where we get to talk about the inner work, how we're showing up on stages or in social media, in networking, and oh my gosh, there's so much stuff to doing, and our wins as well. And tonight is our last week. We always do the last week of the month to talk about our wins for the month, because who needs to celebrate us more than us? Take those 2 thumbs and point them right back at you. That's what we love to do, is celebrate our wins. So get ready. It's time for our mid-roll dance break, and when we get back, what I want to do is talk to the ladies about what made them decide to apply to Women Getting Visible, Courage, Clarity, and Confidence.
Share your story. Own your name. Step in the light. Ignite your flame. Show up, shine out. It's time to be heard. Flip fear into power with every word. Visibility, accountability. We write a wild new legacy.
Well, welcome back, everybody. Thank you for that little dance break, and hopefully you enjoyed it. That is a wonderful song that Christina wrote for us. Isn't that awesome? the multi-talented Christina. So yeah, what we'd love to do is talk about why you applied. We're going to start with Melinda. Why did you apply for this opportunity?
You know, to be honest, I felt like a kindred spirit when Kimberly was talking, because I was kind of healing myself from my corporate burnout in the healthcare world. As much as I loved it, it took a lot out of me. And then, you know, I threw myself in entrepreneurship, which there's no roadmap for that. And I thought, I need to stop waiting to feel like I have all of the pieces of the puzzle. And so that's how I got integrated with Women Getting Visible in general and Christina. And so it felt in complete alignment to just take the plunge and throw my name in the hat. And so I'm just excited to get to share all the wins and the losses that I've had along the way and make people feel like it's okay. We're all on this journey together.
Yes, thank you. Oh, I love it. How about you, Kimberly?
So I couldn't resist. Once I saw that it was going to Minneapolis, I was like, so am I. You know, and this is home. This is my home and this is my roots. And, you know, through the journey, I found my way back here after being gone for a couple decades. And once I got here, it just felt like in all the places that I've been, California, Florida, this just felt like home. And I was like, okay, I'm feeling the call. Parents getting older. I lost my brother a couple years back, which is what brought me home and reconnecting to family and people around here. So I just felt like reconnecting to my roots and starting to give back to the community that built who I am today. It was a no-brainer for me to apply for this, because I just thought, bring my medicine here first.
Well, we are glad you did. Oh, yes. Thank you, Kimberly. How about you, Deborah?
Yeah, I mean, interesting, Kimberly, that you said that, because I feel, first of all, I love Minneapolis and St. Paul. I haven't been there. I used to fly there to work back when the dime roamed, like decades ago, as a producer for large-scale dance events and arts events. And I used to work in Minneapolis, St. Paul, like kind of frequently. So it's been a while since I've been there. Speaking with Christina about what you two have been building and creating, I was just really excited to be a part of that. But I'm absolutely drawn to giving extra love to the women entrepreneur community in Minneapolis, because y'all have been through a tough couple of years last year. And I just feel like if any community needs the extra glow up of support, it's Minneapolis right now. So New York's coming for ya.
Love it.
Thank you so much, Deborah. We cannot wait to have you. All right, Teresa.
Well, it was another woman named Kimberly, who is Kimberly Julene, a trusted part of my network in Maui. And she forwarded the information about the conference to me and said, this looks like something that would really line up with what you do. And I love creating environments where people make meaningful connections and they really take action on what they learn from big conferences or learning opportunities. And so it fit really well with that interest of being part of community, uplifting each other, to have more visibility. That courage piece, the confidence piece is also important, because I know what it's like to show up at an event or have these intentions of meeting people or speaking up or learning from each other, and then kind of going back to the old ways. So it just felt like a really good fit for us stepping in to how we want to be visible, and I wanted to be a part of that.
We're so glad to have you as well, because that's what me and Christina are all about, is in person as much as possible, because we need that as much as we can these days, because we're feeling, I don't know if you're the same as me, but I feel sometimes disconnected when I'm always on only Zoom. So I need people in my life, and that's why we create these events. So thank you, Teresa. All right, Dr. Cindy.
Oh, I guess, there's three main reasons, and two of them have to do with my own visibility. So I really grew up professionally in a good old boys world where women had to stand up taller and bigger and brighter in order to be recognized. And it's challenging, and yet I've accomplished that. And at the same time, I really believe that the visibility also has to do with the self-reflection. I had to learn how to be visible to myself and get rid of the negative self-talk and the negative self-esteem that really limits the visibility, because I can blame the Good Place Network, but it's actually not their fault. It's my own right. It's my own issue to have figured out how to develop my own visibility. So when I met both you, Amy, and Christina, the third reason, which made it perfect, because I actually had 2 other commitments I needed to rework. I didn't get rid of them. I don't back out of commitments, but I needed to rework 2 commitments to say yes to this. And really, ultimately, with that messaging, it had to do with the energy. And there's something about being in a room with the right energy, with the right people doing the right things, that not only my hope is to elevate everybody around, but for me to learn and grow within this experience as well. So it was just a really simple yes.
That's so awesome. And it's so incredible. Again, as you can hear, all the ladies who are in this room today who are going to be speaking. But let's not forget about Amy, you, and what is it that you're going to be delivering with your message, and why is it important for you to be visible?
Yeah, thank you. So I will be actually the clarity, courage, and confidence are my words. This is what those 3 words are what got me out of one of the darkest moments of my life, and I started to really realize how important they were, and they built me for who I am. But that's what I'm going to be talking about, is the journey of visibility, from being a person who was terrified of being seen and loved being in marketing because I got to be in the back end of things. I got to be behind the scenes, to now being in front of the camera, talking to everybody, going live every week, which is something I never thought I could even possibly do. So it's just about my journey of where this came from, where the 3 C's all became alive in my life. And so I'd love to share all that with you. And Christina gets to end our show. So we're really excited to have her story as well.
Oh, yes. And ending with the visibility. And it's funny because Amy and I just shared this on our morning visibility strategy podcast about what it is to be in the room. I'm actually stepped out of a 1-day conference here that is happening. So I'm chatting, with some other women, and it's sharing our next events as well that we have coming up. But for this talk, coming all the way from Washington, D.C. to Minneapolis was so important to me for 2 reasons. 1, because Amy lives there, and 2, to reach the middle of the country. Because being an East Coaster, we East Coasters can go up and down by bus, by plane, by train, very easy to get to each other. West Coast, same thing. So being able to reach women in the middle of the country where they are and be able to speak out, just so important. And part about the visibility is my own personal journey. So going through being a very visible child through adulthood as a ballroom dancer, going through a 10-year plus period where I became completely invisible in my journey, to go, you know what? It's time to bring Christina back in the room. And it's not just about me being visible, but so many of us have the same stories of where we've been doing things and then we put life on hold for whatever reason, or we were busy in our corporate world, we were busy with work and we forgot about ourselves for a while. And then it's the knock, knock, knock. Oh, wait a minute, I'm back. And so that is part of what I want to share with the visibility story that I will be sharing and the conference. And then one of my other favorite parts about the conference is our Story Sparks. Our open mic is how we end the show so that everyone can come who has been enlightened about something that happened and have an opportunity to talk. So even if you've been a speaker at the conference, you can also have another time to go, oh my gosh, let me throw this out there because somebody in the room just gave me a story spark.
Yes, we're excited for that, for all of you to participate in that, even the speakers who are here today, to the audience members, because stories, I always thought you had to be a charismatic, a person who could tell stories and you're born with this talent. And I realized, no, you can learn it. You can totally learn it. You can own it, even just embrace it. And life has been so much more fun when I've been able to embrace story. So that's what we get to teach you in the room, is how to just create a story on the fly, to the point where hey, this is pretty easy. There's an easy formula that you can learn. And so that's what Story Sparks is all about. Yeah.
So thank you, ladies, for joining us on this special speaker edition of Women Getting Visible, where we have the speakers in the room, and we will see you in 1 week. So thank you, Dr. Cindy, Melinda, Teresa, Kimberly, Deborah, Amy, and myself. We will see you next time. on Women Getting Visible. Bye bye.
Thanks, ladies.